Welcome to YellBro Road. I am Jordan, and today we're going to react to some clashes of ideas here. Joe Kent versus Norm Finkelstein on the whole idea of Israel controlling everything, kind of type stuff. I assume, I have not watched a second of this, but I assume that that's where they're going. I'm very curious. Before we get started, do not forget to share, support, hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Also, please check out the Discord link if you want to join that. We're in that Discord right now. All opinions are welcome, and obviously everything I show you will be linked in that same description box, including stuff like this. What the fuck? We're not full screen? There we go. Now I'm full screen. Dave Rubin and some college lefties. Here we go. What the?
So let's start. Well, first off, the disastrous war, the quote-unquote disastrous war that you're talking about. You're talking about a 40-day military operation that stopped an apocalyptic regime from getting a nuclear bomb and exporting terrorism throughout the world. And we're now in an economic embargo of them, right? We've basically done a blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. So to say it's a disastrous war, we've done a blockade. We did lose. Hang on. We did.
There's been bombings as recent as yesterday, by the way. Probably still ongoing of exchanges between, yes, the U.S. and Iran. Notably, they hit Kuwait,
Iran, and
Kuwait. I think they hit Qatar as well.
Oh, did they?
I believe so. Some of the oil refinery type places.
They said Kuwait was an airport.
Yes.
1 died, 63 injured or something.
Yeah, that is what I've heard as well. But once again, they'll point out 40 days until it becomes 90 days. Now it's like, well, it's only 90 days, like compared to 1,000. 90 is not so bad. Then 90 becomes 180. 180 becomes on and on. You get it. Let's hit play. Here we go. Let's watch Dave Rubin embarrass himself. Here we go.
We did lose 13 of our soldiers, and that is
and killed over
terrible.
200 children.
But things happen in war, right? Well, things do happen in war. Wait, you can laugh at that. Hold on. Listen,
you can laugh at that. If Donald Trump wanted to prevent the Islamic Republic of Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, he could have just stuck with the Iran nuclear deal that he ripped up. Iran did not enrich past the 3.67. Wait, they didn't enrich.
Or stop Israel, right? You just say yo guys, you're done. Could have did that, but once again, and people that say it's because he's owned by Israel, that is not the answer I see in my head. I'm sorry. It's something a little bit more darker than that. A little bit darker. Not so simple as, hey, he's owned by Israel, so thus he's fighting their wars for them. This is on the behalf of many names across the globe, in my opinion, at least. Hey, I could be wrong, right? He may actually just be owned by Israel. That's why. But then again, you have to explain all the prior administrations and their actions. Explain them then. I guess they're all owned by Israel if you go with that premise off rip. But, no one's going to listen to me right now because we're in a vibe right now. We're in a vibe, right? We're in a social situation where this is the case now because it feels good to fucking yell out loud. So, got it. Sorry, Depster, go ahead.
And then you also got to go back to the 80s on video where Trump said we should have fought Iran.
And you got to go back to before Israel existed as a country and look at those actions and on and so forth, right? It is what it is.
And the Pico Psych still. Yeah, Pico Psych still.
But we're in a
World War I splitting up the Ottoman Empire.
We are in a 2026 vibe of, well, it's Israel. Which I don't think leads to actual answers, but let's play. Here we go.
Well, things do happen in war. You can
sorry if I'm wrong. Sorry if I'm wrong.
If Donald Trump wanted to prevent the Islamic Republic of Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon, he could have just stuck with the Iran nuclear deal that he ripped up. Iran did not enrich past the 3.67. Wait, they didn't enrich past the 3.67% agreed upon in the JCPOA. They only got to 60% after Donald Trump left that deal.
I'm impressed with your talking points. You got impressive talking points, and You memorized them well. They're not correct, but I am impressed.
Okay.
First off, the Iranians admitted in the negotiations right before the war started that they were enriching past what they were allowed to. That's number one. Number two, can you?
Well, pause.
It doesn't explain the initial pull out of the deal led to the 60% enriched.
They're out of the deal, so why couldn't they enrich to the supposed 60%? Let's go with Dave Rubin's thing on before the quote-unquote war. What rule was there they couldn't enrich to 60% if we exited the deal from Obama's JCPOA deal?
By the way that Rubin is saying that, the start of the war, I believe that's 2025 based on his idea of it, right? He wouldn't count the summer thing, right? Actually, no, my bad. It'd be 2026. My bad. Would be the actual start of the war. February, right? 2026, right? Would be the actual start of the war based on Dave Rubin's standards, right? The JCPOA, what's that? 2018? They pulled out of it, right?
When Trump tore it up.
Yeah, that's 2018. So that large gap of time of like 8 years, basically, or eight or less years.
No rules, but no rule, but somehow there was a rule.
Yeah, and him saying like, "Oh my God, they started enrichment," around this wartime period. Like that's still like around 8 years later. I would say on paper, like less so than 8 years, but based on once again Dave Rubin's synopsis here or thesis, it's not going to work out. It's not going to make sense. It's laughable.
I'm blanking here. Did Biden ever make a rule for Iran?
They will say in quiet backroom events, let's call it, they tried to do something, but Iran was like, nah. I think that part of me thinks that's absolute bullshit. It's like Trump screaming at Netanyahu on the phone, like, fuck you, bro. Listen, don't do any more fucking actions in Lebanon. I view that as potential gossipy bullshit to make you think that something's happening when it's actually not happening. And same goes with Biden when it comes to any of it. Syria, even the Afghanistan pause, and Iran. We've heard officials saying, hey, we're going to go fucking attack. We were thinking about doing this too. We were thinking about it.
Oh, that's a headline right now. Taliban is buying oil from Iran. That's a headline in the last couple days.
It feels so willy-nilly, Dubster, to be honest with you. When you hear like the idea of the Taliban saying, hey, listen, these air bases here are ours now. And you hear the U.S., the mouthpiece for the U.S., Trump saying, no, we want those back. Bless me. Anything's fucking viable at that point when it comes to narrative spinning. Right? They can just say whatever the fuck they want to say to make like, hey, these are bad guys because we want something that they have or whatever. Right?
Well, Taliban needs oil for all those trucks they stole from us that they hot-wired. Or were the keys left too? Oh, the keys were left?
Yeah, probably. Like ISIS with the fucking Toyota trucks. Like, hey, oops. We left the trucks. Damn. And the keys too, guys? We left the keys too? Fuck. Damn. Someone's getting fired for this. Or will they?
And now they got to work with Iran and get oil. I guess we're going to have to fight Afghanistan again.
Damn. It's so unfortunate.
They're violating our embargo.
A couple incompetent mistakes, and then boom. You end up like bombing people. It's crazy. A couple of mistakes happen, and boom, you got to bomb them.
It's like we made a second army with like 100,000 strong in 2 years. 4 years, sorry.
Either way, let's continue with more Dave Rubin nonsense. Here we go. I mean, this is just a losing venture. Here we go.
First off, the Iranians admitted in the negotiations right before the war started that they were enriching past what they were allowed to. That's number one. Number two, can you agree or verify their claims? It's one thing to say, oh, this is what we're doing, this is what we agreed to,
pause so we can read that fact check. And that was to show Iran did not enrich uranium beyond the 3.67 limit until after Trump pulled the U.S. out of the nuclear deal. It exceeded the cap in 2019 in response to the withdrawal. Right. Our contract has been null and void by the creator of the contract called America.
Yeah.
Therefore, we are not bound to the contract.
This might be...
That's simple contract law.
This might be like a poor, like, metaphorical contrast, but it's like, hey, man, your jail sentence, like, we're commuting it. Like, you're out now. And the guy just staying in jail anyway. It's like, listen, man, you gave me 10 years. I'm staying for 10 years. They just stay in there. That's maybe like a poor poor like comparison, but like it's in that lane almost of, you know, hey. And once again, it's
well,
like,
if I step out, you'll shoot me, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you know what? Let me.
We're dropping your charges, but if you step out of here, we're gonna shoot you.
So when you let me out, I'm gonna like evade, escape, go to a different country, hide away, something like that, right? Because there's no way this is real, right? Or you're kind of provoking me to be a certain way. That's probably more of the case of the scenario.
You've seen those movies where they like hunt, like rich people hunt down a person and they let him out of a cage or take the handcuffs off and say run.
Yeah.
And then he starts running and they start fucking hunting him. That's basically the scenario.
But yeah. It's not exactly 1-to-1 with the Iran situation, but it's I mean it's on paper obvious, right? And the fact that, well, Dave Rubin's a full of shit liar. Like, I mean, once again, this guy was held up for probably many years, right? Before I even got back into politics, I bet this guy was out here as like, oh my God, have you heard Dave Rubin? He's so fucking smart. He knows what he's talking about. And now here we are. And for some reason, motherfuckers don't want to learn their lessons as like, hey, maybe this can happen to your favorite content creator, potentially. So why isn't that being paid attention to at all? For some reason, this is just, it's almost like normalized of here's someone built up, then they betray you, and now they're your hate watch thing, right? As there's someone else telling you to hate watch them or dislike them, as they might be doing the same thing that Dave Rubin has done already, right? They may end up like that, dude. That needs to be like considered heavily. But all right, let's get this fucking clip over with to get to the main video, I guess. Here we go.
Verify that. And the idea that we have people on the ground or the UN or some third-party organization that can verify what they're actually doing.
The IAEA assessments agree with me, and Tulsi Gabbard, our Director of National Intelligence, testified in front of Congress last year, and according to the entire intelligence community, Iran did not have a nuclear weapons program.
Okay.
That she walked back a week later, right?
They were enriching past the point that they were allowed to for civilian use. Everyone knows that. But allow me.
But do you understand a weaponization process is different than just enriching?
Do you think the Iranian regime before this war, the Iranian regime that has oppressed the people of Iran for 40 years, do you think that was a good regime? Would you say that was a good government? Would you like to live under those people? Were they progressive in any way? Do they hold any of the values that any of you guys hold?
No, but we don't just start wars on countries whose politics we disagree with or who are oppressive to their own people. We're actually an ally to Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Whatever. Like we don't do that. Like, yeah, they do. They fucking do that. The motherfuckers in government, they do that. If they disagree, I don't even think politically. It's more so, are you playing ball or not? If you don't play ball, we might run you the fuck over. And also, I see the trending right there. I'm like, oh my God, I'm missing the NBA Finals right now. Fuck it. Let's keep it moving.
Knicks versus who?
Spurs. And Spurs are home.
Oh, so the Spurs won it? Okay.
Yeah.
Spurs got to the okay.
I should have watched that series more, but I didn't. I saw like some highlights here or there.
No.
Watch it. Anyways, let's move on to the main video. Let me reset real fast, and then we'll just go right in. Forgive me, YouTube. All right, let's just jump in. Here we go.
To both of you, Joe Kemp, what was your response when you heard what Norman Finkelstein was saying there?
Actually, that's the first time I've heard it. So, first and foremost, it's very rational and appropriate for us to have legitimate concerns with the amount of influence that the Israeli government has had over our foreign policy, especially with regards to this Iran war. And I think that's exactly where the topic of discussion should be, because it's so important. It's the most important thing. I think any diversion into, well,
he's wrong, but that's
someone just being anti-Semitic, or the flip side, which I think the professor was pointing out, anti-Semitic tropes or something like that coming into play about why
I missed something.
And all of that is inappropriate.
We all missed something, but we're going.
Condemn the anti-Semitism, and I also condemn people using ad hominem attacks when the focal point of the argument right now is the influence that Israel has over our government and our foreign policy in the Middle East and this war with Iran. So I think that's where this.
Well, it becomes a little bit shaky, Joe Kent, when you say, once again, all the prior operations are all good to him. Granted, they blatantly show that it will lead to war with Iran, right? Once again, the things that he called himself U.S. policy that he agreed with. It wasn't some, dainty little Democrat, Obama, Biden, soft fucking military power against other countries, right? It was actually okay, this hits home and we can we can run things now. This is better for U.S. power in the world, right? That's Joe Kent's stance on paper, at least. But at some point, he's like, you know what? I think Israel runs this. And now it's different, apparently. And that should be very curious of a thing to anyone with a fucking inkling of critical thinking in their fucking skulls, honestly. That should be very curious. And you know what? I understand why, if Norm's if he's not full of shit, right? If Norm's not full of shit, I understand why he's asking these questions, because a lot of these guys sold us here in the first place. As I said, Joe Kent and his statements about past military actions that have existed, it's all good. All good. These are good things that are happening. But now it's Israel all of a sudden. It's that's weird. It's very weird. The little debate we just watched, right? About, hey, he pulled out of it. If he didn't want Iran to develop a certain amount of enriched uranium, why the fuck would you pull out of the deal? Maybe renegotiate it first? Why just outright pull out of it? Well, renegotiate. Why just outright pull out of it and then also threaten them militarily? How would that stop them from developing more enrichment? That makes no sense. But Joe Kent is all for that. And now that we've reached this point, he's like, well, it's Israel. That's why. All of a sudden. And it's that looks weird. Almost let's be honest, a concerted effort from him, from the Tuckers, from the Candaces, from a lot of motherfuckers, the Jimmy Dores. These types are screaming this shit all day and night as they brought us here in the first place. They helped get us here in the first place. I kid you not. Even Jimmy Dore helped get us here in the first fucking place. And now fans will scream at me about this stuff as I'm hey, you don't get it? I'm don't get it? They've been doing this for years now. They've been building up, and saying, wait a minute, it's not my fault. It's Israel over there. They did it. It's them. Fuck out of here. It's so dishonest. It's so fucking dishonest. And somehow that wins the day.
So
over and over and over again, it wins the day, being dishonest like that. Go ahead.
What was Norman Finkelstein's I guess you skipped that, or are we
I didn't see
from
it.
The beginning of this?
No, I skipped the whole introduction part. I thought it would just be names and hey, here's professor of yada yada yada. Here's X yada yada yada. Right.
So
I skipped it. But you know
so
what?
he
I'm okay
did
with
slide
that.
a question in there. We missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm okay with that, though. I'm okay with that. I love the idea of opening a book and finding wisdom anyways. Open a random page and start reading from there. And guess what? If you have the mind for it, you'll find wisdom anyways. So, you know what? I'm okay with starting here. And we'll hear the responses, which will give us more context for what was said earlier, right? And we could just read through that, right? We have brains; we could do that.
Right. We'll context clues.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Let's hit play. Here's more. Here's more of this. Here we go.
Subject matter should stay, because ending this war is probably the most important endeavor that we can undertake right now.
But Norman Finkelstein specifically cited not just Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Megyn Kelly, but also you, Joe Kent, when he said Palestine was never a cause of the right, oppressed peoples a right-wing cause, third world people a right-wing cause, human suffering a right-wing cause, not really. And he put your name in the mix there. How do
you done a video?
I don't really have any feelings about that. I mean,
that's Norm making it about left and right. Like, that's stupid too. But once again, these three characters here will be held up as the voices of a time period. And I'm like, these guys are not that intelligent on shit like this. They are not. But unfortunately, here we are. And don't worry, someone will call me stupid for not jumping on one side or another. All right, here we go. This is what it is. Like, what do you want me to do? I'm melodramatic. What do you want from me?
I don't really have any feelings about that. I mean, my criticism of Israel is their influence over our policies in the Middle East. I was the director of the National Counterterrorism Center prior to that in the military and the CIA. And so that's where my level of expertise
and now
is
we trust you
in terms of right-wing causes. Defining the right wing right now in America is actually rather challenging. But I do think we should look at our relationship with the government of Israel.
Norman, welcome back to Uncensored. It's
Norman,
been a massive pushback,
that,
as you know, to what you said, including people supporting it, obviously. Glenn Greenwald posted this. I'll never understand why. If someone genuinely cares about the issues they claim to care so much about, as I believe Norman does, they prefer to remain an impotent minority rather than forming majoritarian issue-by-issue coalitions with other factions in order to actually stop these injustices, which is an interesting point. You know, he's basically arguing.
So, okay, I can expect that from Glenn Greenwald, who, once again, he is, even on the surface to me, I'm like, yo, you're like a fuckface. You can't, you're not engaging with ideas. You're doing matter-of-fact shit. And, hey, why can't we, like, cross, ideological lines to have more, commutations with each other and all this. Like, okay, fair enough. I get that idea, but don't you have to check if someone's like for real first? Isn't the first check? Has Glenn done that like with anyone, honestly, until after he gets fucked already? Until after he's like, wait a minute, Trump is not that. In fact, he did that argument, right, on the thing we just watched, the Jubilee thing. Well, Trump is the worst, most corrupt presidency. He's more corrupt than Joe Biden was one of the topics. If you asked him, a year ago, he'd say the exact opposite, wouldn't he? And for some reason, he hasn't stopped and assessed that at all. He just keeps it moving like nothing happened. Like, you would have said the exact opposite, Glenn. Hey, Biden is more corrupt. Biden or Harris are more corrupt than Trump. He would have actually made that argument probably, a year ago? Maybe less than a year ago, for all I know? It seems like. And it's like, now you're here telling me the opposite. It's like, yeah, what do I do with all that, Glenn? So how do I trust your criticisms of Norman Finkelstein? If you were legit, whatever. I'll just go with mine. Making it about the right wing, Norm, is not the go-to. Like, let's find out who's real or fake first. Let's find that out first. Who's real? Who's a faker? Who's being honest? Who's being a fucking faker? Let's find that out first. And then from there on, now we'll hear their arguments. Okay, what's more efficient as an argument? What's a better idea? Now we do that. But these fools aren't even starting there. He's starting with fucking teams. Just like Glenn is in a different way. Maybe it's not left and right for Glenn. Maybe it's more so, who do I know and who don't I know? But for Norm, using teams as like left and right, that's a bad starting point. Let's find out who is fucking legit first, because we keep seeing left or right, and they keep fucking you guys over. And for some reason, I guess maybe you like it or something. I don't know. You're still there somehow. We're still stuck in that somehow. It's unfortunate, but seems to be patently obvious. And then obviously regular people adopt those same things, don't they? Or similar things, at least. And repeat. What's it, Blade? Once again, Norm has some points in regards to, like, hey, you're making everything about Israel, but meanwhile, there's plenty of creepy crawlies running around your fucking government with or without Israel. They're still taking bribe money, or they're still blowing people up, or whatever. They're still doing these things, regardless of Israel's consent or not. And once again, and Joe Ken himself has engaged in these same actions. He's engaged in it, right? And actually celebrated it, but because I guess he had an epiphany like, oh my God, it was Israel. Oh my God. And now it's okay. Anyone can say words out loud, people. That's the point. But for some reason, I'm the fucking idiot. I'm the dummy being... They don't even say I'm tricked or fooled. People don't even say that about me. They just say, you don't know what you're talking about, and they move on. Right? They keep it moving. But, like, at least, like, I'm saying you're being played and tricked, and your response is, well, you're dumb. What happens if you are actually getting played and tricked? Are you considering that? Are you thinking about it? Are you looking around? Or is it so much fucking, what's the idea? Confirmation bias? You're getting so much of that to where you're just going with the rest of the fucking cogs. Pause. What's up, boy? Here we go. Fuck politics.
But whether you agree with Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Joe Ken about a number of other issues, it's kind of irrelevant. The way these guys are come together, there's more power in potentially stopping more of this particular issue from happening. I mean, do you accept that criticism?
Well, there are two separate questions here. The question that Joe Kent raised, namely Israeli influence over U.S. Foreign policy, and then there's the question, the political question, the tactical question of forming alliances with people with whom you ideologically fundamentally disagree. And those are very different questions. So I think out of respect to your guest, Joe Kent, I should first address his question, which is an important question. Now, I've listened to Joe Kent on several occasions, and his position is that the United States was dragged into this war in Iran in just the same way as it was dragged by the Israelis, dragged into the war in 2003, the Iraq War. And he sees a direct line between the two cases. So,
well, he's an idiot.
Let's just begin with the first one, because the first case is very illuminating for the second case, the 2003 Iraq War. So there was a lot said back then, including by my close friend, John Mearsheimer, that the Iraq War in 2003 was instigated by the Israelis. The Americans were duped. They were tricked into launching the war. Is there any evidence for that? I would say the evidence is flat out zero. What happened in 2003? First of all, as everybody knows, the United States has opposed the Iranian regime since 1979. That's why it supports Saddam Hussein when Iraq attacked Iran between 1980 and 1988. They even covered up for Saddam Hussein when he used poison gas against the Iranians. Now, after 9/11, the Vice President, Dick Cheney, the Secretary of Defense, Donald Rumsfeld, who were the real architects of the 2003 war, I'm sure Joe Kent will agree with me on that. They were the architects of the war. They saw an opportunity. Everybody knows the cliche, a crisis is also an opportunity. And they saw an opportunity to reinvent the Middle East, to rid it of the Iraqi regime, to rid it of the Syrian regime, and then the big Megillah, to go after Iran. The only point of difference between the U.S. and Israel was the order. Originally, originally Israel wanted to go after Iran first. The U.S. wanted to go after Iran last. But there was no difference of opinion on attacking Iran. It was just a question of first or last. Now,
I'm sorry. I absolutely agree. That's what I've seen. Now, maybe I've been not fully what Norm's saying, not all of it, but like the premise of, yeah, we want to fuck this place up, and you're one of our teammates in regards to fucking this place up. Just a difference of strategy of how you get there. But hey, we're gonna fuck this place up. That's part of the goal. So the idea of like just saying, hold on, because once again, the premise from Joe Kent's and the Tucker Carlsons of the world are saying like the U.S. Yeah, they're slaves. These government leaders, they're slaves to Israel, being moved by them. Meanwhile, it's like you actually hear these American guys talk, and it's like, well, make sense of that. How come these guys sound so gun ho for doing this stuff? How come that's the case?
Exactly.
But they'll say they'll have it. Hold on, real quick. They'll have like another reason for that, though. They'll have like another excuse or something to where it's like, oh well, that guy's blackmailed by Israel. That's why that happened. This guy over here, he owes money to some guy in Israel. Okay, that's why he's doing that. Like they just try to they almost like do backflips and transform the art, the ideas, the words we've heard out loud into it's about Israel, which screams like an obsession almost. It's like, why are you so desperate to make it about Israel? What is that reason? I've heard I've heard a bunch of different ideas in regards to that of like, oh, it's about national pride. They love America so much they don't want it to look bad. I've heard ideas of they're already, they already disliked Israel. They need they never got enough. They haven't been shitted on enough, right? So we need to shit on them somehow, or even though I don't go that direction, the idea of like quote unquote anti-Semitism. That's another idea I've heard before, right? In regards like, why are people doing this? Why are they so gun ho in a direction versus like, hey, that guy, Rumsfeld, who you would call American, right? Full-blooded American. How come he's doing all of this? And they'll like, once again, they'll probably make something up. Honestly, it's like that's kind of scary to me. That's as much of hypnosis as the Trump phenomenon was, where it's like, yo, how come this guy's bombing this place? Well, actually, he's like helping them out by bombing them. He's doing like a secret plan that you don't understand yet. So just wait for it. It'll work out. Like, what? You're seeing this play out in real time. It's like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, guys. Go ahead. Either it's dubs or subs. Either one of you, go ahead. I just had to scream that.
I can't hear her. Let her go ahead.
Go ahead, subs.
Huh? No. I was just gonna say, I agree with that. That whole premise is stupid. Where it's just like, oh, it's just kind of Israel, steering the ship, and the U.S. just like following Israel's kind of, I guess.
Not just following as in. Well, hold on, real quick, because it's not just following as in the sense of like, hey, these guys have a good strategy. Let's follow them. It's more so in like you are controlled to follow them no matter what.
Yeah, that's like hypnotized. Yeah, you're on like they're steering the ship. You're just along for the ride.
Yep.
Like you're not. There's no agency or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I disagree with that as well. But it's also like Joe Kent's entire narrative doesn't make any fucking sense. Like just even on the even you can go into the history of the Iraq War, and I'm glad that Norm established that, and I agree. But it's like his entire narrative doesn't actually make any sense in terms of him being like this whistleblower who's still protecting the person he's whistleblowing on.
Yeah. Well,
so it's
we haven't even got there. So, but yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm stuck on that. So
yeah.
I just want to put that out there.
It's not just
it's the most obvious thing to me.
If these guys, I'll be honest with you, I had that in my mind in regards to if it was not said, it was going to be brought up. Like I was going to bring it up, but my mind went like kind of more so towards initially at least of like, hey, listen, you supported all the events that lead to the thing that you're crying about, but the end result is blame Israel. Meanwhile, you were supporting Trump during this action or this from the JCPOA to Qasem Soleimani killing to sanctions to all these events playing out, even the summer bombing, right, of the so-called of the nuclear facilities that they said, right, during the summer. He's still in favor of them at that point. It's like, yo, all these actions are leading to this event playing out, but now all of a sudden, like, oh, that one,
but now
that one, that was Israel.
It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
It's irrational, actually. It's quite irrational.
Agreed.
So. But yeah, but he gets away with it because it's like, oh, but he's he's trying to reveal some truth. We get something, right? It's like, what is the thing?
The bravery of, listen, you can't just say that in the media anymore, okay? Listen, Joe Kent is showing bravery by saying this out loud. Like, dude, everyone's fucking saying this at this point. They're all fucking saying it. All these talking heads and media people and influencers and content creators, they're all fucking saying it now. So it isn't some like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. What a hero. Yeah. It's not there anymore. So like, but it's still being, it's PR being used and abused, in my opinion. Fortunately.
Yeah. Actually, I heard Dave Smith talking to Cenk today, and he was talking about how he's like,
the team up.
He's annoyed with all the people who keep being hard on him for coming around on Trump and like all these other comedians who have bravely stood up against the Trump administration now, because the main thing they should be saying is like, oh, okay, great, welcome, like now we're in this fight together, but like he's getting a lot of backlash, which is just like, it's just so discouraging. I'm just like
so that's why I get part of Norm's point where it's like, well, hold on a minute, hold on, like where he's like, how does this turnover just happen like that? Like it seems like relatively quickly the turnover happened to where once again, and to be fair, like Norm's been on this topic for many years now, right?
Yeah.
And now he sees like randoms that are now according to the audience, outflanking him on these topics all of a sudden. That got here last year or some shit like that. It's like, wait a minute.
And he sees how they're framing the. He's not stupid. He sees the framing around things where it's like, oh, and then it becomes about like this kind of this Jewish JQ.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck?
They're conflating as much as Netanyahu.
Like, no offense to Dubster, but it becomes like that level of like stupidity, in my opinion.
And they're conflating almost like Netanyahu conflates, where if you're criticizing Israel, oh, you're criticizing Jews. That's what you're doing. But in another context, wait a minute. You hate the existence of Israel, which means you hate the existence of Jews. Once again, like it's just like a conflation game being played. And
they both do it. Yeah.
But
because then it becomes like, oh well, maybe they shouldn't be in the government or whatever. Oh, they're loyal to two different places. Oh, and then it becomes like, oh, if you're Jewish, like, oh, what's your stance on Palestine? And it's like, whoa, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, excuse me.
And it was built off.
I'm uncomfortable with that.
Well, it's built off the backs of, once again, in my opinion, corrupt behaving motherfuckers from the past, where
absolutely
they found a way to relinquish Israel from all responsibility when it comes to crimes against humanity. They've been relinquished from it, like straight up, right? Where like you guys can do no wrong for so many years. Then the fucking pipe bursts, and now it's like, wait a minute, we see what you're doing. Wait, you're not getting in trouble? They must have favoritism. Got them, right? Meanwhile, like once again, Norm's been on it before October 7th.
Where it's like, we know the favoritism's been there. Like, it's very clear. That's why it's like, all of a sudden now it's an emergency that everybody needs to like deal with, where it's like, what?
With a lack of assessment. Like, once again, not trying to dick ride Norm and not saying I agree with everything he says about this stuff. He does a little bit too much. He adds too much silly things to it, in my opinion, to be correct based on my standards.
But he sees the core thing. He sees something there. And I agree with him because I've seen it too, and I agree, and I don't like it. I don't like it with any group, and it's a.
I thought it was blatant.
It's not something that it should be normalized, in my opinion. So.
when I came back to politics and started like looking at this stuff again, I thought it was blatantly obvious. Like, wait, hey guys, I thought it was about like, hey, a wrong has happened. We're trying to deal with that wrong that's happening. But instead, it became actually like totems and namesake and what it's like brand names almost. Are you a Zionist? Huh? Like it's instead of like the older idea that I got used to years ago of like the older idea of like a Zionist, right? Now it's like something different. Almost the way that, once again, Netanyahu uses that word. Wait, you're anti-Zionist? That means you're anti-Jewish, aren't you? But these guys are like, in a way, in words at least, behaving that way. And it's like, that's weird. That's weird and worth pointing out.
It is weird.
And
it's very uncomfortable. And I don't even like the idea of like, oh, well, you know, if you're Jewish, you should be speaking out because like you don't want people to have a certain idea of you. It's like, why would somebody have a certain idea of you because you're Jewish and you haven't said anything about this thing? That's ridiculous. Do you know how ridiculous that is?
Yeah, well,
I absolutely despise that. I hate that. It's like, oh, if you're a Muslim, then you should be saying stuff about the terrorist things that have been happening, and you should be condemning extremist Islam. It's like, what? What the fuck does that have to do with like my imam and my community? You know what I mean? Like what?
Yeah, it is gross. I agree. Like I have
I'm good on
friends
that.
online and offline, like IRL, that are Jewish, and I would never, ever, ever think to be like, "Hey, man, what do you think about like bring them up in regards to it?" It's like tokenizing them, and that's
exactly.
And those friends have not done that. Well, online a little bit different, but IRL that no one's done that with me in regards to, like being black, right? Like, hey, man, what do you think about this?
Yeah. What do you think of this George Floyd situation, huh? Trayvon Martin. Like what? Like why are you? Am I?
I do that.
I'm
and
glad
you
you're one of the
always say
smart ones.
Jay-Z is awesome. You always say Jay-Z is awesome.
His music is awesome. As a person, though, he got some work to do. But
is that unanimous among the black community?
Anyways, go ahead, Dubster. With hopefully, hold on to what you were gonna say. God.
Yeah. I noticed that you know how your old thing you've been saying since October 7th. I get why Normal Finkelstein said this about 2003. Like history didn't start that day, but he is responding to Joe Kent's framing of the bigger picture, and he says, "Well, the Jews, Israel tricked us into invading Iraq, 2003." That's what Joe Kent said, and that's why Norm Finkelstein. Norm Finkelstein. Norm.
So the Jews.
I
mean,
that's
Israelis.
all it was.
You kind of just did that.
I just misspoke.
That's okay if you misspoke, but like that. If you said like Bizraelis instead of Jews,
anyway.
Okay, good.
The point is this whole conversation is framed to a starting point that Joe Kent, for this example, chose. And it's not just Joe Kent. Tucker Carlson chose this framing. Candace Owens chose this framing of 2003. Israel tricked us in Afghanistan, but history didn't begin in 2003 either.
Yeah. They'll repeat the Netanyahu speech to Congress, right, about the importance of how bad Saddam Hussein and Iraq and the war on terror and all that stuff is. But in reality, in my opinion at least, it seems like it was like kind of a foregone conclusion. Honestly, just the way it played out, like how hard they sold going to war with Iraq, even in the beginning.
Dick Cheney, George Bush Jr., and Donald Rumsfeld didn't fucking architect the war on Iraq. This was planned out fucking 100 years earlier. And that's just what I know of the history. I don't know how long before that taking down the Ottoman Empire was a fucking plan.
Potentially, but I personally can't reference 100 years earlier than that. I can go to like the 80s, kind of, and be like, even the 70s, and be
700 years.
Well,
I mean, I'm really talking like since the Ottoman Empire existed, there's got to be somebody that was behind it. Like, we got to do what it takes to fight this off because we had the Crusades. So, I mean, like, this plot and plan is thousands of years old.
I don't know that. I don't know that. That would like require like a lot of game of telephone, right? Through historical telephone, as far as like the people making decisions about this stuff, right?
Exactly, but I'm saying it's obvious that that's there 1,000 years ago.
Oh, there's always been like human tension, period, right? Throughout history.
Right.
But I can definitely link the 1980s and the Mujahideen and the funding of them and then Soviets and then on and so forth. I can definitely tie that directly to not just 9/11, but also the Iraq War and on and so forth, and where we're at right now. That for me at least, based on the information I've seen before, I can definitely tie those together, at least in theory, right? And there's no way I'm convinced that like, oh my God, it's strictly Israel giving orders and shot calling and saying, do this, do that, do this, do that. There's no way I see that. There's so many fucking names of, once again, quote unquote Americans, right? And then being a part of it. But it doesn't, the thing is, like, I think people get a little bit butthurt thinking like, if you say these guys are quote unquote American, that means it's America itself. It's not your fucking mailman or the fucking construction worker down the street. It's these guys in that apparatus. And the same applies to Israel, right? A lot of the, like, let's be real, most of them have nothing to do with any of this other than their brainwash support, just like what happens in America, at least in my experience, right? Where they get gun-ho, like they were gun-ho for Iraq, right? Do I blame them? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense of you should have been more conscious about your own experience, but no in the sense of people were feeding you lies and you fell for it, right? So, like, that needs to be a part of that as much as with Israelis, but for some reason, there's a narrative out there where there is no distinction
that
between...
grace is not extended.
Yeah.
It's like the grace is extended selectively from what I've seen.
Well,
yeah, and it makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dubster.
Oh, sorry.
Also think about this aspect. You know what a zealot is, the idea of the word zealot, not as in any particular religion zealot, but the idea of a zealot.
Yeah, like a social zealot. Like you're the outskirts, kind of. Yeah, good.
No, someone they're so locked into their belief, they're gonna like dedicate their life to achieving this goal, and the big idea is normally I have this enemy, and I'm gonna dedicate my life to destroying them. That could be anyone for any enemy they could imagine. And you could just be somebody in one country. Like, I couldn't think of a specific reason a Chinese person would be mad at someone in fucking Zimbabwe. But there could be a Chinese person that is going to dedicate his entire life to destroying Zimbabwe. Just because that's his goal, and he could force his way into power structures of the Chinese government and start moving it towards that thing. It won't happen in his life, but they'll see somebody in the power structure later on will see it and take another step on the ladder towards that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, until 150 years from now, China and Zimbabwe finally have the war this guy always wanted.
And help build, based on the story you just said right there, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
So
that's a possibility. Yeah.
That could happen anywhere. And I think it always kind of does happen.
And okay, and you're saying that towards the idea of, once again, the narrative is the U.S. is fighting Israel's wars, right? Are you saying like that's part of something that happened within the U.S.? Like some zealot, maybe zealot or zealots?
I'm saying
led to that. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying throughout history, let's just say like Europe. They have a zealot to be against Islam. They have a zealot to be against Judaism. They got a zealot to be against Genghis Khan's people when they were around. They got a zealot to be against the New World. Like, there was zealots for everything throughout history to be like rattle the drums in their direction.
Okay. But
like, it just constantly happens. Someone just is that ambitious, or that not ambition, because they don't care if it happens in their lifetime. They just want it to fucking happen, and they'll do whatever it will take for it to happen, regardless if they live to see it. It's just something they're so dedicated to.
I get what you're saying, but once again, when I bringing it back to the main the topic at hand here, I see the idea of
it totally applies.
It can apply, but I see a lot of, let's be real, like bullshitters, like where it's not actually about that thing. It's not some sort of zealot motive thing. It's more so like, this is to trick dummies into coming this direction because that creates a good environment for them, right? It creates an environment for them where they can just gobble up all the gold that's being dropped out of people's pockets, right? As you take that tenacity of trying to do the right thing, right? But you place it towards, hey, Israel's doing this, right? You're just leaking gold out of your pockets, and they come up and collect it and say, hey, wait, you hate Israel so much? Hey, guess what? Do this as a result. Do this as a response. This is your answer. As they get, like, in a way, artificially propped up and megaphoned to fucking death. And it's like, damn. Are they could be pretending to be zealots for the sake of winning over favor from other people that are not thinking, or actual zealots themselves, right? And thus they get played too. Things maintain their order in a way, but yet somehow, for the guy on the ground, it feels like it's pure chaos. Oh my God, the world is going in a direction, but in reality, it's a lot more controlled than you realize, and thus the zealot's getting played himself too. That's what I'm seeing here in regards to this scenario. There's someone who's genuinely like, oh my God, it's Israel's fault. They are getting played and targeted by people like Joe Kent, in my humble opinion, or Tucker Carlson, or Candace. They're being targeted by those guys, not being empathized or, comrades with them, if you will. It actually is like a scheme. You're getting played, in my humble opinion. And once again, I could be wrong, but for the audience member to not even question that as a possibility, that's where I get really pissed. I could be wrong, but like, you're not even gonna actually question if that can happen because Tucker's so good in his log fucking cabin. Or Candace questioned fucking Charlie Kirk's death. Now it's okay. Like, there's no questions about it. That's the problem.
And this is the thing, Jordan. The only people questioning it from that angle,
hold on, Dubster,
or Mark Levin,
Dubster, hold on,
or like the Mark Levin. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, but I was gonna say, the only people questioning it from that angle are people like Mark Levin and Josh Hammer, and that makes kind of questioning it from that angle radioactive, even for the quote unquote liberals or whatever. So then you don't get to actually discuss, like, there's a problem here. You know what I mean? Like, again, another person that Mark Levin has been questioning is that Graham, whatever guy, Plattner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not from the point of view of the quote unquote left, but still, it's just interesting. It's like, then, because he's talking about it in from the angle that he's talking about it and the framework that he's using, it becomes like untouchable or like irrelevant.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's appealing to authority in the debate bro, vernacular, kind of like you're appealing to Mark Levin to know what not to do, right?
Yeah.
Which is like, that's appealing to an authority. You're giving him power to say, I won't do this because Mark Levin did it. That's giving him so much power.
He was talking about this, so this is totally, fake. Like, wow. Yeah.
That is,
Yeah.
in my opinion, if you're a supposed critical thinker, that's a dangerous game to play. In fact, that's a wrong game to play. But at the very least, dangerous to play that game, to go that direction because of how bad you think someone is, or how bad they actually are. Do the exact opposite, or try to go a different direction than they are, no matter what. Or information must be wrong because they said it. Whatever it is, right? That is a dangerous game.
The opposite of whatever the mainstream media says must be the truth, kind of thing. Where it's like, ugh, it's so lame brain. Like,
it really is.
I don't know.
If you look at it psychologically, it's like, okay, you don't like the initial thing. I don't like the mainstream because these guys are whatever liars, or they support bad guys who do bad things in the world. They support them no matter what, right? But anyone could do that technically. So thus, if that shifts from CNN to Mark Levin or whoever, right? That same phenomenon should be the same exact thing of like, okay, I can't just trust them, right? But doesn't mean do the exact opposite, because now CNN is different than Mark Levin. Do I do the opposite of CNN and Mark Levin at the same time? That makes no sense, right? That's not.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Even mathematically, that makes no fucking sense. So
no,
it should be a genuine, like, hey, I might not trust this person, but if I can't trust them, what might be the actual case, and thus go that direction. But apparently we're too stupid for that. So thus we end up in these kind of towers lobbing missiles at each other. And we have to just pick one tower or the other. Pick that team or that team. But I'm only telling you right now, fair warning, that's going to get hairy at some point, because now there's towers countering towers countering towers, and where's your answers at now? Where's the real answer at then? Faking it, or is it based on
ChatGPT?
People you claim to not like so much. All right, well, let's get back to the video.
The last grok.
Last grok. King Big Dick Grok.
You think I'm joking?
the Alpha and Omega Grok. All right, let's apply. Let's keep playing this. Here we go.
The claim is made that Dick Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, they were tricked by Israel into launching the war. So here's some basic facts. Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld each had 30 years of experience in government and power in 2003.
This fucking lame argument
They
again.
began politics during the Gerald Ford administration in 19...
He's going with, they're not dumb. They're not dumb. That's his argument. They're not dumb. So why would they fall for that? That's his argument. It's so old, man. It's so boomer. Sorry, boomers.
Well,
there's some smart boomers.
You're citing an important thing here. Gerald Ford administration.
Listen to his point, though.
1975.
Okay.
1975, and he's gonna. My guess is he's gonna say, Iran's overthrow was in 1979. So they experienced that while in politics.
Fair enough. But
they didn't need Israel to be mad at Iran. America was mad at Iran on its own. I think that's where he's going to go.
That's fair enough, but he's also implying, I think he's going to go, maybe he's doing that, but I think I've heard him argue this before, I think with Brianna Joy Gray, where it's like, well, these guys are smart. They're not dummies. They're smart people. So how could they fall for such a thing because Israel did it, right? Let's play. Here we go.
Years of experience in government and power in 2003. They began politics during the Gerald Ford administration in 1975. Each of them was very smart. You don't trick Dick Cheney. You don't trick Donald Rumsfeld. Each of them was very conscientious.
Can't trick a dick.
Each of them was 101% committed to American national interests. They didn't give a hoot. They didn't give a flying fig about Israeli interests.
Wait, what's the fucking word again? What's the word from Norm? What is it?
Fig?
No. Sebs, what was the fucking word that he said?
What?
Oh
man, it was so good too.
It's like something Rooney. Something Rooney.
Oh, something.
What the fuck was it?
No, it was Cucaroni. No, it'll come to me. But yes, it was something Rooney.
Like yes.
It was very good too. I was using it for a couple weeks.
For some reason I heard the word hoot by him. I'm like, wait a minute. There's that fucking word he said. Something Rooney. All right. What's up, bud? So yes, he's going with these guys are smart, and there's no way you could just trick them, which is a dumb fucking argument in regards to countering the idea like Israel tricks.
Bonkaroni.
Bonkaroni. There. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
Bonkaroni.
There it is.
This is Bonkaroni. Yeah, it was good. It was good.
But
thank you for reminding me. It's back in my vernacular now. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyways, Norm's going with they were so smart, you can't just trick these guys. But that's not a good enough argument for the modern mindset of Israel luring or dragging or tricking America into a certain situation. And their mindsets, well, you could just like I'm sure Dick Cheney has like fucking dick pics out there, or I'm sure he's like had some weird prostitute or underage kids, whatever the fuck the idea is, right? I'm sure Israel has something on him about that, so like that they made him do it. Or if that all fails,
he shot his...
yeah, the bird shot of his friend, yeah, but once again, the idea is like having honest arguments and trying to look towards an answer towards like what's happening. Let me tell you, if all that fails, if the idea of blackmail fails, if the idea of being tricked fails, they will go with like, well, Joe Ken has done this before. Like, oh my God, they're targeting their families. They might hurt his family. Like, Trump is a very brave man.
He shot his friend.
But this is the thing, though. Like, it's so much simpler than that, right? Where it's like, it's not, you don't even have to go to Bush or this, that, and the other. It's like, the U.S. has interests that are related to Iran. Like, so does Israel. Like, and there's a lot of corrupt people in government in all of these places. Like, why wouldn't they conspire? Crooked people love to work with other crooked people. They prefer it that way. Actually, it's you actually kind of that is the initiation, because like we all have to like stick to the lie. So like, duh. I mean, it's pretty simple.
I absolutely agree, but I'm gonna go over like where I think the theories will go, because there's gonna be like another layer to this. We're not even there yet. The main layer. Sorry, the end layer. Right. Mm-hmm. I went to the idea of like, oh my God, like Joe Ken said. Oh my God, they threatened Trump's family potentially, right? As an idea.
Okay, but where's the argument? Where's that argument going? Is it going to like, is it just the Israeli specifically? Is it Jewish power? Is it, what are we talking about? Is it like, I don't know, Judaism Mossad, more broadly?
He'd say Mossad, but some others will probably say
the intelligence. That's like saying the CIA, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That he worked for. That Joe Ken worked for. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
that controls the entire American government? That doesn't make sense.
Let me get to the end thing.
See what I'm saying?
Let me get to the end thing. The end thing is,
all right, my bad. Go ahead.
Oh my God, Israel will drop nukes. They have nukes. They'll drop them as like their last option to control the U.S. government. That'll be like, that is the end. That is the last one. That's the last step of like, okay, we dismissed blackmail, threats,
Samson option,
bought, paid for. Okay. Threats to family, let's say all that didn't work as far as like evidence goes. They'll just go to like, well, you know what? They have nukes. They might just like nuke everyone. So like that's why the U.S. follows their plan no matter what. Which is also nonsense to me, but still is.
At the same time,
for a reason.
Okay,
for that.
But if that's the case, then like, isn't that another volatile state? Like, then why are you looking at Iran if like,
yeah,
if that's the situation over there? Like, I don't know. It just, to me, it seems like another way to kind of almost like scapegoat Israel.
Yeah.
Be for real. Like, just straight up, like, scapegoat Israel for all of America's crimes as well. And just be like, oh, yep, look over there.
And we know how bad of the government of Israel has partaken as. We know how bad that is. We've seen a lot of news stories, events, all that stuff.
It wouldn't be hard to convince people.
Yeah, that is the last thing. That is the last thing. If all else fails, they'll go to Israel has nukes and they'll use them, and that's where they'll land at. And it's like, God damn it, are you guys fucking thinking? Are you actually thinking about this?
The only thing that they could do, quote unquote, do at this point is if they just like stop giving Israel anything at all and disengage from the whole thing, and then just let Iran do whatever it is they're going to do.
And they would have observation of if Israel tried to launch a nuke, it'd be so on radar. It's not happening. That's not fucking happening.
I think it would just be like okay, well, the US isn't going to help Israel anymore or whatever. And then Iran's like, okay, like, cool, word.
I think
and they'd probably nuke Israel. But that would be after Israel probably got all their people out and put them back in Poland and wherever the fuck else. You know what I mean?
No, listen.
New York City, Florida, wherever else.
Israel,
go back.
Once again, this could be wrong, but I've heard this piece of information. It felt correct to me, but I could be obviously wrong, or they could be wrong, or lying, or whatever the fuck. But the idea of Israel's like, okay, listen, last resort, we're launching nukes. Even Iran would be like, yo, we see what you're doing, bitch. We're gonna hit that spot where you have like your nukes launching. As soon as you expose nukes to the world now, like, hey, we're launching nukes, here they're coming from, it'll get hit immediately, and then you are blowing yourself up at that point. Which is why nukes are so weird now in 2026, right? Because like, who wants to launch one where like other people are gonna know that you launched it?
Well, that's what. So when
I've always heard it being the sum of all
Dave
fears
Smith was talking to Jank, he was saying, Jeffrey Sachs was saying that there doesn't actually need to be a deal.
And then it traces back to America soil. Hold on.
She was talking first.
You trace it back.
Okay.
No, sum of all fears. It's
Ben Affleck.
You've seen the movie. Okay. Yes. So you know how the nuke traced back to being from the soil of Georgia, as in United States, Georgia?
I don't remember the movie too well, but sure.
Well, that was the big idea. Like, it wasn't from Russia. And that was, like, the whole thing Ben Affleck was trying to expose, Jack Ryan was trying to expose. It didn't come from Russia. So that would be, like, the method, supposedly, that the Samson option's all about. It'd be somehow like a dirty bomb and brought into a country, then exploded. That's the whole threat of Israel.
Be a narrative
with Samson option, and then everybody would start shooting their nukes, and that would cause world nuclear holocaust or apocalypse.
No, but like they have to have a reason. Like, okay, why would they sacrifice themselves or what? Because a U.S. politician won't listen to them.
Last resort.
What would the last resort be?
That would be the only logic. They have no other options for some reason.
Okay, but like it doesn't make sense in the sense of options, as in they're doing pretty good for themselves when it comes to options, as far as having the favoritism of a lot of countries across the world. Like, why fuck that up? But you know what? They won't destroy Iran. Let's bomb everyone. Right? That doesn't make too much sense to me, but we'll be floated anyways. I'll be called stupid for even thinking it. But go ahead, Subs.
No, I was just gonna say that Dave Smith, his conversation with Jank, he brought up that that Jeffrey Sachs was talking in front of the UN again, and he said something about why he was confused as to why Trump keeps trying to get a deal. So he's like, what is this like negotiation, this deal? There doesn't need to be a deal. The only thing that the US would really have to do is like okay, we're done with like arming Israel. Like we're done.
On paper, yeah. On paper, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, there's no negotiations. Like this, it's just like a smokescreen. Like this is dumb. It's a waste of time. This is like theater.
Yeah.
There is no negotiation. Like, what are we? This is like just he's buying time, obviously, because there doesn't need to be any negotiation or any deals. It's just like, hey, we're gonna stop doing this. Okay, cool. And then eventually they'll have to reopen the Strait of Hormuz because then why are you still closing it if Israel's not getting, But then the thing is, then from their point of view, it's like, oh, but then Israel's left unprotected and they're the biggest ally, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. But they could.
Yeah.
I get
they
why
can
the brains are
evacuate all their
broken
people.
off. I get why the
at
brains
this
are
point,
broken.
I wouldn't even want to live in Israel. I'm just being honest. Like this, just me being honest. Like if my family at some point was like living if we had ended up in Israel and not in the US or whatever, we would have fucking left after October 7th. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
We would have like dipped. Like I just out. Sorry. Like because that's like you must eventually recognize maybe where you're at and the animosity that's around you and just kind of being aware of your surroundings. So
they're almost
I'm just saying
geopolitical guinea pigs almost.
Yeah.
They are not in a good spot. And
no, they're not. And even with the COVID situation, they were one of the most surveilled population in terms of like, okay, you got this, you got Johnson & Johnson, you got Pfizer, you got Moderna, and they, because they have a universal healthcare. So it's really easy to keep track of all of their. So it's really interesting. They were almost kind of used as like guinea pigs during COVID.
Yeah. And the technology stuff. I think as much as Gazans, maybe not as much as in regards to warfare, but still on a technical level, being as surveilled and tested on as much as any other population across the world.
Absolutely. Gaza's
in that
region.
region.
In the West Bank, that's a whole other, that's like another layer. That's like the super duper version of that. But
they're abusing them.
But I just mean like even the abuser, quote unquote abusers, not the people, but like even just the class of abusers, like they're also being abused. But that makes sense because that's the whole point of like quote unquote liberation. It's like for the oppressor, quote unquote, and the oppressed, quote unquote, because that's the whole idea is that like recognition. So.
Yeah, they may feel like, hey, we're the winners of the scenario, not realizing you're getting fucking
but not
played.
really.
But that's what happens in America too, when they feel like we're the winners of something, but in reality, you're getting fucking played. And for some reason, and once again, it's just another game being played, another narrative being played in regards to like, hey, when they see Israeli, they think of them over that entire country over there. They may not say that in words, but it feels like they view it that way almost. Of it's them over there. Meanwhile, it's like it's an apparatus. The other guys are getting played, like hardcore getting played by their own apparatus, right? Their own government, their own military, or aspects of the military, on and so forth. Just like here, just like in many, many other countries too. But
their own like different even types of apparatus, like just cultural, ideological, like their media, like all their fucking their think tanks, even like the Jeffrey Yass stuff, where like that has influence on their judicial system and the way that they conduct their courts.
But I don't hear enough
their policies.
But wait a minute, because I don't hear enough of a lot of the talking heads or the political or commentators on things, right? I don't hear any of them like bringing up even the possibilities of that nuance being in existence. Instead, I hear a lot more of like, well, they're all like this. I hear a lot more of that. Of like, see, look, here's a video clip of some guy in Tel Aviv somewhere saying, you know what, kill all of them. Or some guy in Tel Aviv spitting on a Christian. Look what they're doing. They're spitting on Christians. See that?
Or a settler in the West Bank.
Yeah.
kicking, you know what I mean? And again, like I'm not saying these things don't happen, like absolutely, of course, but it's like, it's like almost taking the extremes. Honestly, it's no different to me than like kind of picking out look at these black people at the gas station stealing, or, you know, whatever, or look at the black people at Foot Locker stealing shoes, stealing Nikes, not vegetables. So it's like this stuff that the slop that Matt Hunter shares, not to like make it about him, but do you know what I'm saying? It almost becomes like that. Like,
well, it's people betraying themselves because like, hey, you're in there. It's not just like you're. Hey, imagine being in their shoes. You're actually in their shoes. You're falling for a narrative that will get you to act in the world a certain way. Meanwhile, like that might be them too, but it's not considered. So instead, you end up just walking in their shoes. And thus you're betraying yourself. In a way, you're betraying yourself. But you know what? It feels good right now. Right now, it feels good. Shut up, Jordan. It feels good. It feels good. They're the bad guys over there. It feels good to say that. And I'm like, oh, God, it's not worth it, guys. There's a better feeling that exists in humanity, on planet Earth, in the universe. There's a better feeling. But you know what? I'll empathize with you. I'll empathize. It feels good to say those guys over there, they're bad right there. See them? They're bad. It feels really fucking good. But let's move on. In fact, I'm going to reset because I'm sure it's going to lag.
Make your entrance. Go ahead.
That's right. Oh, and greatness is back. All right. Let's play. Here we go.
They made a calculation. Now, what happened, the calculation was wrong. We all remember Kenneth Adelson said it was going to be a cakewalk. Kenan Makia said the U.S. troops would be greeted with chocolate and flowers.
He brings up fucking Condoleezza Rice right now.
Wrong. But to say they were wrong
I was like, Adelson, who?
Is not to say that Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld were either tricked or they were serving Israeli national interests against our own. That's just flat out ridiculous. So now let's
why not point out like they were never serving, once again, the idea they use is American interests, but in reality they've never been serving Americans. They were never that. So thus it was never, by their standards, American interests. So
they're serving their interests in whoever they serve.
Exactly. But they're putting this narrative out there like they were always serving Americans, but then all of a sudden they got tricked by Israel and now they're not. Like, get the fuck out of here. Not serving.
No, I've even heard like people like Jimmy Dore making that argument where it's like, oh look, they give see he's giving they have health care.
I just watched this video.
And it's like then they talk about COVID like restrictions. I'm like, which one is it?
Right now.
There's just so many illogical. I don't know.
It makes no fucking sense. What were you saying, Dubster? God.
Sorry.
Watch this video of cooking for the military from the Revolutionary War to present day, and it has slowly gotten worse and worse and worse throughout the 250 years.
Or whatever.
Well, just worse in some kind of way. Like, they were starving in Washington's time, but they had great meals when they ate. Versus, we're not starving in our military today, but the meals are fucking poison.
Yeah. A little off script, but fair enough. My dad actually, when I was a kid, he made something that came from, I guess he said it came from the Civil War. He called it fatbacks. I was like, that's fucking delicious, actually.
Okay.
But, whatever. All right, let's play.
What is that?
I think it's like it's not bacon fat. It's like imagine like a giant ham almost, and like the fat that gets left over, and you cook that, and it's almost tastes like bacon. It's so like ghetto Southern motherfucker style thing. Yeah, like a Southern shit ass thing. Yeah, it was good.
We stopped doing that like in the 1930s.
Yeah,
like our grandparents.
Well, fat is good. People I like pork butt or pork belly.
No
like
pause.
there's just I'm sorry. Pork butt's good. Pork butt with rice. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah.
Pork belly.
You do your chicharrones.
Like any pork fat. Yeah, like I think pork fat is delicious.
But it's like
anyway.
His lesson, the idea of it was a lesson of like, take advantage of whatever you get type of thing. Like, hey, if there's scraps left over, don't just throw them in the garbage. Like, use that to like get something out of it.
Yeah.
And that's the idea of the Civil War guys. Like, hey, we can't waste any fats or proteins at all. We can't waste anything.
Mm-hmm.
It all must be used because otherwise we go starving.
But, yeah. No, that's definitely a thing.
Yeah.
For sure.
But all right, let's get back to this video. Here we go.
Yeah.
Fast forward to this war. Donald Trump, like Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld, wanted to get rid of the Iranian regime. He was persuaded by the Israelis that it would be a cakewalk. He thought that, if you recall his first speech, he said, I call on the Iranian people to rise up against their government. And he thought they would. Well, guess what? He was wrong. The Israelis were wrong. But the fact that you make a tactical error does not mean you are serving a foreign power against American interests. Joe Kent, your other guest, he wants to get rid of the Iranian regime.
Okay.
But he thinks the right strategy, as he put it, is brutal, I would add, criminal sanctions against the Iranian people. That's collective punishment, illegal
Norm's not wrong on this.
Law.
He's not wrong.
He believes that if you
impose
brutal sanctions on the people of Iran, that they will rise up to overthrow the government. So they all agree on the goal, which they believe is in the U.S. national interest. I don't want to overthrow the government of
Norm's
Iran.
right here.
But they believe that.
In my opinion.
And the only issue is tactical. One, Mr. Kent believes it was a bad choice of tactics. Mr. Trump and Mr. Netanyahu thought it was the right tactic, but they were wrong. But to come up with all of this wire pulling by Israel to trick the Americans, or we're told
that camera's dancing
that they have
with Norm.
Secret information from the Epstein files that's keeping Trump up at night, that he's
I'm sorry, Norm's roasting this fool.
Tortured because he didn't want to
answer this question, Joe Kent.
This is all fantasy and invention.
But
Joe Kent, answer that. Piers, shut the fuck up. Say, oh, hey, Joe, what's your response to that?
He's going to save him.
Exactly.
He's going to save him.
Yeah, he's probably going to save him. Fuck me. Here we go. Let's find it out. Here we go.
Fantasy and invention.
But on the point that Glenn Greenwald made, though, notwithstanding all that, is there not a power in having more voices coming together, even if they're from traditionally polar opposites? Because what's fascinating, I mean, Joe made a very
This has nothing
point
to do
that,
with
what is the right wing now in America? It's completely split down the middle, and it's been split over things like the Epstein files and how much should be released, split over the war in Iran.
What the fuck? Once again, I understand it's Piers Morgan. I understand that, all right? But it's like, to your ears as an audience member, to your brain and your ears, what did you hear just happen? He just said, like, well, listen, to write this off, he brought up an accusation, essentially. Like, hey, Joe Kent's with Iran falling. They just, like, disagree on the tactics to do it, right? Which is like, okay, answer that, Joe Kent. Instead, Piers is like, well, the divide that happened, why is there such a divide here? Why aren't you working together? It's like, yo, why get in the way of that? It's like Jamie with that fucking Joe Rogan clip where it's like, hey, if your idea is good television, you're stepping in the middle of it and getting in the way of it. So why the fuck are you doing this? It just looks weird. Hopefully, which I don't know. Hopefully Joe Kent puts his hand up like, well, listen, Piers, let me like address that first. Let me address what Norm just said there first. And hopefully there's enough room of back and forth. I don't know why he would. I'm just, forgive me.
I mean, his colors just got shown. Why would he? Why he wants Pierce to do this?
Usually Joe Kent's sitting there like nodding, like, yeah, But this one, he's like, like no, like kind of like dismissal face. Make him answer that. Instead, Piers is gonna ask a diverting question to Norm Finkelstein. Hopefully, Norm will
like
say,
inserting Glenn Greenwald.
Yeah.
Why?
Norm should be like, yo, ask a question about this guy's character. We should start that. Let's go there. Listen, Glenn's not here, but Joe is here. Like Joe is here, so let's talk to him. Here's my statement about him.
No.
Explain himself. He should do that. He should.
Joe's gonna say
they keep merging him with the left.
Republicans are starting to see Israel and all that.
You're
great.
with the left with Glenn. Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, that was all I was gonna say. Go ahead.
I didn't hear what you said. That was the problem. Say it again.
Go ahead.
Just say it now, man. Just say it now.
Joe Kent is gonna say Republicans now see that Israel isn't all that great.
Like now, after once again, the accusation
That's
was
what he's probably gonna say.
The accusation was like, "Hey, you're with this. It's just you don't like the way they did it." And the way you're almost rationalizing your chain stance is Israel, right? Oh, what Piers will do? Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, he's not even going to address the accusation against him. Why would he do that?
Fair enough. And what were you saying, Subs?
Oh no, I was just saying. I just find it interesting that they keep grouping them together. Like, but Glenn is saying this, like, and he's from the left. Like, but Norm is disagreeing with Glenn. You know what I mean? It's this weird like grouping, like
painting a picture a bit is right. Like that's what you're saying basically. Like well, Glenn is, lefty diehard
he's
apparently.
moving in this direction.
But
yeah, and it's like what? Why are we deferring to Glenn?
We'll see where he goes. To be fair to Piers, I cut him off in the middle, but like I'm just
fair enough.
Befuddled. Yeah. I'm befuddled as like, how do you not like let that fly? Like, yo, Joe, answer that question now, right?
Isn't that how it's supposed to be? The two people are supposed to first go back and forth, and then he intervenes. Why is he intervening with Glenn right now?
I mean, it's Piers Morgan uncensored, but apparently,
irritating.
It's Piers Morgan. I love Glenn Greenwald. Let's talk about what he said.
Literally, yeah. But Glenn said.
Like, all right, let's play. Here we go.
Go ahead.
But over a number of things, so it's very hard to define what the conservative right in America now is. But in relation to Glenn's point,
stop him, Norm.
His criticism of you is specific that you seem to be wanting
to. Glenn, make him answer this.
Not having to do with any of those people because of their
Piers.
political positions. Whereas on this, you're all agreed. So why not unite?
Right.
Why not unite?
Piers,
what?
It's your program. You're the moderator. That's clear. However, I want to be respectful to Joe Kent. And I would like clarity on this issue. It's pervasive now across the whole political spectrum that this is quote unquote Israel's war. And I would like to hear his response to what I have to say.
Yes.
To be clear, I was going to go
oh my God! Yeah, yes.
Exactly.
Thank you, Piers. Shut the fuck up, Piers. He's going to try to subvert this again, isn't he?
You gotta be pushy with these people.
Yes.
He's going to try to subvert this
Morgan,
again,
bro.
No, but come on.
It's Piers.
This would be like, even to the characters about entertainment. This would be good entertainment to like watch these guys engage and argue back and forth, right? That'd be good content for Piers.
He's not just entertainment. He's a psyop of his own.
Probably. I mean, probably. What do you got, Jesse?
Well, they would kind of mess up the show, right? Like if he actually clarified the statement instead of just arguing across from each other. That is the show. It's just people arguing stupid shit instead of like actually getting to somewhere.
No, but getting to somewhere, it's the Dark Knight theory. Actually getting to somewhere would actually bring in the most viewership. But there's a reason why someone might want to stop that from happening. That's where
Absolutely.
it's like concerning, right? But let's hear.
That's what I'm saying. Psyop.
Let's see what Piers does here, because he's about to interrupt him again when he's like, "Yo, can Joe answer this? Can Joe answer this question?"
Oh, just really quick, Jesse, I just want to let you know that Michael J. Cox is tagging you in some love songs. That's all
He asked me first. Yeah.
So please, YouTube, join the Discord if you feel like. All opinions are welcome. So please sign up if you feel like and get your opinion out loud. All right, here we go.
Like to hear his response to what I have to say.
I will. To be clear, I was going to go to Joe for his response to what you said about that. And I think it's a perfectly valid point. And you spelled out the history with your usual
shut up and let him answer
knowledge. And that was very interesting to hear. But just give me a response to what Glenn Greenwald said, because I think when he raises an interesting
get out of the way.
The right in America over things like Iran. Why would you not welcome having people like Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Joe Kent, Candace Owens and others?
What's wrong with you?
Agreeing with you about something like the Iran war, for example.
I just want to skip this to get to the main thing.
Okay. Number one, I believe that about 60 or 70% of what those folks are saying about Israel and Gaza is true. I have no problem with that. When Candace Owens says there are children being murdered in Gaza, that's true. When Tucker Carlson says there's a genocide in Gaza, that's true. I have no problem with that. And I'm glad they're saying it. I know when I listen to it, I'm glad to hear it. Number two, I don't believe facts can be anti-Semitic. If something is true, it's true. A fact in and of itself, if it's true, can't be deemed anti-Semitic. It may be unwelcome, but it's true. Number three, I completely get the fact that a lot of people are cheering on Tucker Carlson, cheering on Candace Owens, and to a lesser but still significant extent, cheering on people like Nick Fuentes, because they seem to be breaking taboos, and taboos which many people have grown very offended by. They feel stifled by the fact that they can't express the true opinion that Israel is committing a genocide. They feel threatened. Their fear of being labeled anti-Semitic, and even up to and including losing our job, or in the case of some students, even being deported. So I get that they are cheering these people on. I will have to say,
hope he goes back
I don't think it takes much courage now.
It's not like he's getting
Public opinion has radically shifted.
I think he's actually going back
It's much more difficult now in the court of public opinion to support
Weave it in there.
Israel than to criticize Israel. So we have to be honest about that.
Okay.
This is not what John F. Kennedy would call a profile in courage.
Okay.
What does concern me, however, okay,
I'm sorry.
Cut his
I
bitch
like
ass
that.
off, yeah.
I
Cut his bitch ass off, yeah.
No,
you
fuck
can wait.
Fuck Piers, but that's hilarious. This is not exactly what you would call a profile in courage to criticize Israel at this point in time, right? You're not a big dick in the room because you criticize Israel in 2026 right now.
It's the flavor of the fucking year.
Yeah.
Or 3 years. It's not. It's literally it's become the cool thing. Not cool thing, but you know what I'm saying? It's become like the edgy. Whatever.
In your face.
And he has a point. Maybe I mistook Norman's initial art. Once again, he talks sometimes so laced in politics that hurts my fucking brain sometimes. But these arguments here, where he's actually like combating with someone, essentially, or well, he's basically combating Piers and Joe Cohen at this point. But
and Glenn Greenwald, he's battling
and
Glenn Greenwald,
who's not even there.
Who's not there. who's not there. I just want to point that out.
Well, you gotta remember what you were against him. The other one was he was against somebody versus what was what's that guy's name on the left?
No, well, it was
he was just like he wanted peace amongst the world.
Oh, Cornel West with you should
yes. That was your
problem.
Word?
You should
get
rid of or not engage
with.
Not engage with, Zionists. Don't engage with them. But that's part of political brain rot, in my opinion. That's not human. That's not humanity or life and health first. That's in my opinion, playing politics, which is my main
It's
gripe.
Called ostracizing.
Yes, but that's part of my main gripe with Norman, where he's in the political purview versus, the love, compassion, mercy version of things. But still, when it comes to argumentation on this thing as a political topic, he talks slow, and he's very punctuating with the way he says things, but guess what? His words, logically, in my opinion, are on point.
Yeah, he picks his words
these fucking
wisely.
Fools. Yeah,
I agree.
In regards to talking about someone like Joe Kent, he makes absolute fucking sense. Absolute.
No, he does. He does. And what did he say?
Well,
it's not
Joe
a
Kent
profile
has
of
got his own method
at
too.
This point to
it's
criticizing
not going to be good.
Hold on.
Sorry, what was it that he said? Like, it's not a profile of courage to be criticizing Israel at this point. That's like, I'm sorry, that to me, that's just like, yes, exactly. Yeah. Because it's the flavor of the fucking year, month, week. It's been the thing. Like, let's stop saying, oh, he risked everything, this, that, and the other. No.
You can't say that out loud. Like, yeah, you can now. You can. You can say that now.
You can scream it
from
the fucking rooftop.
You can make a t-shirt, and if you get arrested, they'll put you on TV or on the internet, be like, oh my God, what a hero who's standing up against the Zionist regime.
The GSA will promote you. You can get a spot on Majority Report, whatever.
It's like, it kind of is a thing now. And I love
it's in fashion. It's in
love
vogue.
That being called out. I love that.
But yeah.
I made a video and got a little bit of, not too much pushback, but some pushback of where I'm like, hey, I think the title was like, anyone can say free Palestine. I think it was like basically the title. And they thought I was criticizing the valedictorian of a school, a girl who's valedictorian, right? And she's like, free Palestine, as she like left stage, basically, right? I'm like, well, for all you know, that could be Hillary Clinton. For all you know, a future Hillary Clinton. Like anyone can say these words out loud. That's not the shit. That's not the shit on her. I made that very clear. Although I don't think it was heard by those guys who didn't like my video too much. But I was saying that blatantly, like, hey, it's not about, like, I don't know who that lady is. I don't know who that girl is, right? She could be a savage in the order of, like, something I would love deeply, right? She could be, like, that dope of a person, right? But I don't know her. So thus, the idea of saying free Palestine does not make me automatically like, oh, she's just fucking dope. She should be president one day. You know what I'm saying? She should
it's like if it was followed up with like more context, where she made maybe TikToks and videos about it, like, oh, I did this. This is what I've been doing. This is how I've been supporting them. This is the care packages we've been
That's beyond. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's beyond the words at that point. Now it's like, oh my God, you
have
integrity. Holy
shit. If it was
shit.
supplemented, if it was supplemented with that, like, that's putting it into context for us. That's very different than just telling us like just mere rhetoric, like words out loud.
Yes.
So
agreed. And that takes on a level where it's like, it's not about the words anymore. It's like, well, there's something there. Something I like about this person that's there. That's worthy of my, in a way, support or attention or whatever the fuck towards. Something's there that's worthy. And yes, the more words I've heard is more evidence towards that, or the more actions I've seen is more evidence towards that. But the initial thing is something on a human level of like, oh, I think this person has something legit about them, or this is not fake. This is authentic on some level, right? There's something there worth caring about. And I got some shit for saying, not too many people, but some people, especially when I was saying it, it was like in the height of people were like, yo, when they thought like Trump was going to save the world, then he found out he wasn't. And I mean, from both sides, by the way, both sides, where they're like, Yeah, I didn't vote for Trump, but there's some words where I'm like, maybe add some hope for it, some hope for Gaza, and you come to find out, like, no, you don't. So now someone who's like going against it, like saying, yo, I realize what Trump's doing. So you know what? Fuck you, free Palestine. Fuck Israel. Fuck the IDF, free Palestine, right? And if I call them out in those moments, it's not they don't like that. They don't like that. As they're in the midst of it, right? They're locked into it, that time period. Hopefully more nuanced now, but, when you're in it, you're in it.
Yeah, and then when they come back from, worshiping the altar of Trump and, taking their chance to get something, right? They want the fucking red carpet rolled out for them. And they don't want anybody to criticize them. They just want to be like, oh, welcome to the fight. Like, no.
As our gurus.
What the fuck? Yeah. Like, no, sir. Like, that's not how that works. But anyway.
I mean, what else do you need psychologically when you're blatantly a part of the thing that becomes the problem later on, and now you're offering the answers.
And your show's called Part of the Problem, Dave Smith. And your show is called Part of the fucking Problem. Anyway.
Once again, I'll be fair. Some of my audience who are left leaning did the same thing. For those like, hey, it's better than what they did before, right? And thus there's an excuse inbuilt instead of assessment. But all right, let's keep playing this. Once again, I think very interesting, and in words, awesome points from Norman Finkelstein. Here we go. Because right now he's looked at as a bad guy right now. By the way, by at least a lot of Twitter and a lot of internet people.
Yeah, fuck that. No, he's correct on this issue.
Well, they view him as a bad guy. Like, hey, why aren't you hey, we're all trying to stop Israel, so why aren't you just going in? Why aren't you joining? He's like, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
It's smelly in the deli. Smelly in the deli, and he knows it.
This is Bunkaroony.
Exactly the way I'm saying it. I bet you he even said it. He was like, something smelly in the deli. I don't like it. I bet you.
He's like, I've been doing this for a long time. I don't get what I'm seeing here. What is this? And I agree.
Like, what is this?
I agree.
What are those? Who are you?
Yeah.
He said, Joe. He said, Joe, what do you mean, right? Like that's what he wanted to get.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to get down.
And he wants Joe to answer. He's like, yeah, what's up?
Listen, I wasn't a part of a movement, but I was looking at. In fact, it's one of the first political things I really got into was bulldozing housing in the West Bank and all. So Israel-Palestine has been a thing politically in my life for a long time. And then when you hear these motherfuckers now today, I'm like, you guys have taken this topic and twisted it in a weird direction, and motherfuckers are falling for it. In fact, they're defending you. They will take a bullet for you, apparently. And if Norm's for real, I get his frustration with seeing that, as these guys being the arbiters of how we look at this topic. But let's play. Let's find out. Here we go.
I don't think it takes much courage now. Public opinion has radically shifted. It's much more difficult now in the court of public opinion to support
Joe shook his head yes to that.
Than to criticize Israel. So we have to be honest about that.
Okay.
This is not what John F. Kennedy would call a profile in courage.
Okay.
What does concern me, however,
I just want to bring Joe in because obviously we've had
stop me now. Stop me now, Piers.
With you talking. Let me bring Joe in. Just to the point that Norman was making. That
Mr.
There is a growing narrative that all the strings are being pulled by Israel. I think when you read that New York Times piece, which appeared several weeks ago, about all the background to why America joined in the strikes, it seemed pretty clear that there was a lot of, pathways laid out by Netanyahu and Mossad that if you do this, all this will happen. And Trump seemed to think that would be the case. Others in his administration.
Are we getting back to Norm's fucking the initial statements of what he was saying? Are we there? He turned it over, didn't he? Didn't Piers just turn this over? Fuck.
He's redirecting. He's reorienting.
Piers did such a good job. I'm forgetting the exact words that fucking Norm said in regards to Joe Kenton. Like, yo, how come you guys are doing this? What is that phenomenon? And Piers has twisted and turned it.
I'll remind you. Joe Kent and Netanyahu agree on the goal of overthrowing
okay,
Iran.
thank you.
Just not the tactics.
Yes, exactly. Is Piers... Your Piers... You just said, listen, Finkelstein, we'll get back to it. Don't worry. Anyways, the New York Times...
now that we're reminded of the topic, Piers can do the Aikido, the verbal Aikido, and redirect.
You'll do the fucking Steve Blackman or some fucking karate move defense.
Yeah, it's like a defense.
Steven Seagal,
just and you just sway it to the other direction.
All right, I have to leave and come back. It's lagging, but incredible. Here we go. All right, let's once again. The question is, he used the fucking Glenn thing to pull up to the New York Times thing to avoid the initial fucking statements of, hey, aren't you... Once again, and I said that before Norm said it too, by the way, so it's not like it is like something that I think is actually visible. Like you can witness it if you listen to enough Joe Kent, to where it's like, hey, weren't you saying like everything's all good except for, right? Like your goal is in the same direction, but right? And Norm's kind of asking that. And why would Piers save Joe Kent for?
He's saying that, oh, Joe, the only thing you really disagree with Trump and Netanyahu is on tactics.
Exactly.
You have the same goal in mind, but you just want to go about it with different, strategies, basically.
And
he's
Joe
like,
Kent
whereas
has said
I
that.
disagree with the very premise that you all are coming from. Like,
exactly. And
he's
Joe
like,
Kent
he's being
has said
direct.
that.
He's like, because it's like, he's basically saying you're like them. You're not different. Like you're still on that line. Like,
absolutely.
So I feel like that was really important. Question.
Exactly. To a fucking T. Exactly, Sebs. And once again, although Norm's words might say right wing, left wing, but in reality, once again, and I brought this guy up in a video before, the Dave Smith video, the Larkin Rose guy, who would be considered as libertarian, right? Right wing, right? I think Norm would engage with him differently than he views Joe Kent, because Joe Kent, I mean, is to me obviously full
very
of shit.
obvious,
obviously
very.
Full of shit. Tucker a little bit more subtle, but I still see full of shitness about that guy as well. And
Joe literally, it's like he's made in a fucking lab. Like, it's weird. It's like this guy is like,
he is G.I. Joe. He is actually made in a factory somewhere.
Yeah. He is G.I. Joe.
All right, let's hear Piers avoid the initial premise that hopefully, once again, Piers does what Piers does. You have Joe Kent there. He does what he does. Norm, I'll let you, for the sake of like being efficient, call it back. Say, well, Piers, he didn't answer this initial thing I said before. Let's go back there. Please bring it back there.
Yeah, like he needs to drag them back to hell. Because I'm sorry, like you got to just like grab them and then take them, like keep taking them back, because they're gonna try to divert because they don't want to deal with that. Because it's a very important nuance that he just pointed out.
Do not do this Dave Smith thing where you get lost in the idea of winning an argument versus like making.
Don't get triggered. Stick to the point.
Yes. Let's find out. Here we go.
Pathways laid out by Netanyahu and Mossad that if you do this, all this will happen. And Trump seemed to think that that would be the case. Others in his administration didn't agree. Now, Donald Trump is his own man. I think that's pretty obvious. But has he been persuaded by Netanyahu that this could work out the way they were saying? I suspect that was the case, and he regrets it now. But this charge that he makes, Norman, that it's easy to do that, to blame Israel for Iraq, to blame Israel now for Iran, but ultimately the President of the United States and his team, they are the most powerful military in the history of the planet. If they don't want to do something, they don't have to do it. And conversely, if they do, they do it. And using Israel as the kind of excuse that we now blame for it going wrong misses the point that it was an American decision at the same time. What do you say to that?
The other question, I tend to agree with you. Had I not been at the White House and in the executive branch,
because now he's making it. Sorry, really. He's making it about Trump being manipulated by Netanyahu, whatever. No, Norm was talking about you, Joe Kent.
Yep.
And where you what you you are here right now. Netanyahu's not here. Trump's not here. We're talking about you and how you view the actual situation, because we need to be very clear about what your position is, because your position is everything. So let's nail it down.
Just the way he wants it.
This is so irritating.
Well,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. It's just
how weird would it look, Sebs, if the whole idea is listen, Israel wants to overthrow Iran, that's why it's happening. But then you find out wait, but Joe Kent, you want to overthrow Iran too. You just want to do it in a different way. How make that make sense, right? And it's if he yeah, that's brain breaking. I think.
So what is this coalition even for? What are you what are you coalescing about? What
exactly?
What are you agreeing on?
I got something to say to
that. Go ahead, Dubster.
He's implying America. Well, I mean, it's the same statement over and over again.
Not going to work logically.
America can't. America can't get things done unless Israel comes up with the idea. Therefore, Israel leads America, which is what he's constantly saying.
I don't think he's saying that.
Joe Kent is.
No, I don't think he's saying that. I think he's saying, they have the good idea. It's just now Israel inserts themselves, and now they drag the U.S. in a certain direction. Meanwhile, once again, that's why his premise does not make any sense in the first place. But God.
No, I agree, but that's what I'm saying. It's just repeating
Are you
the
talking
same
about Joe
thing
Kent?
over and over again.
Yes.
That's Joe Kent. That
So
is Joe Kent.
I thought you were saying something different. Sorry, Dubster. I thought you were saying something different than that. In a way.
No, I was gonna say because Joe Kent, he agreed, because Norm was just going over. He agreed with killing Soleimani and all that stuff.
Yes.
He went through. It's you were in agreement.
Going out of the Jason, all that stuff, all the events leading up to this. Even once again, I said it before. The bombing in the summer of the fucking nuclear sites. He was in agreement
because it was one and done or whatever. He was it was a hit it and quit it kind of thing.
Yeah. But all I have to say is well, listen, Israel is controlling our government right now. And now it's everything forgiven. Don't worry. We didn't see you before. Don't worry.
It's all Israel. And he blamed his wife's death on that.
Did he do that?
Yes. If you reread the actual thing, because I wrote a paper on it. So I kind of just I broke down the actual what he even said. And he said Israel started the war that ended up with my wife killed in Syria. Hold on.
What?
Yes.
Did I cover that?
The letter.
No,
I think you covered the letter.
Oh my God. No, because okay.
But he's with it with the wars, right? He's still with it.
Well,
it's just a different one.
Trump appointed essentially appointed this guy that was a part of those wars, even of guerrilla warfare, with suicide bombings and shit like that. In Syria, Trump appointed that guy the president of Syria, and Joe Kent was firmly in office at that point, right? He's firmly a part of the Trump administration. How the fuck could you let that slide, Joe Kent? Logically, right? As an IQ test, how does that work? Good.
No, I'm gonna put it in.
Did I cover that directly?
Archives.
Let me see.
Probably.
I'm curious.
So I'm just gonna put the slide in there.
Okay.
But if you go into the actual thing where it says
okay, this is the
yes, yeah. So if you go to the last line, As a veteran who deployed to combat 11 times, and as a Gold Star husband who lost my beloved wife Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel, I cannot support sending the next generation off to fight and die in a war that serves no benefit to the American people. So this is the second to, the second to last.
Okay, I did not see. I have it on. Fuck. Sorry, YouTube. Forgot to.
So did he just come up with that realization himself, or
I guess so?
What's the pivot, like from like his whole career to like, saying these things now? Like
fuck. Save the image and try to. Actually,
I'm sure you can find his tweet too. Yeah, or you can just like zoom in. It should be the last bullet point.
Yeah, I'm saying for YouTube, so they can have a copy for themselves.
Well, we can see it.
Yeah, it's just
It
okay. So
fake,
I didn't
right?
see this exactly. I don't think I saw this.
Mm-hmm. So he said, who lost my beloved Shannon in a war manufactured by Israel. Excuse me. And I can send you. I can send you the tweet. Because I have the URL with me here of the tweet.
Yes,
if you want to use that for.
Yes, yeah. Please send that.
In a war manufactured by Israel, for me, that raises this thing in my ears about like when you hear the same phrase everywhere, and his is a variation of it, right? Like usually they say wars for Israel or not fighting their wars or something.
Yeah.
So he changed up the words, but the what he's saying is exactly the same, right? And there's so many people saying that around this time. That's like,
there you go.
Okay, that seems weird to me. That like they weren't saying this before, like that. They're saying a lot of things, but not specifically. Oh, we're fighting these wars for them. Like
it's gonna sound dark, Jesse. Like the way he almost like politicized that statement right there. It's like, did you actually care about your fucking wife, dude? That hurts my stomach to even ask that question. But I'm sorry, the way it's like almost like nonchalantly politicized, almost in the vibe I'm getting, at least, right? The vibe I'm getting from this, I'm like, damn, did you actually care about her at all? Like, really? Or it is what it is. It is what it is. Like that hurts my stomach to think of that in that direction. But it is what it is, dude. Right?
What, the Gold Star husband?
Killing Qasem Soleimani and by defeating ISIS. Like, that's political, right? Then you see this, even the idea, like, my beloved manufactured by Israel. Like, politics next to something that's supposed to be, like, genuine and, like, personal.
Shannon.
Yeah, like, personal to your own life, right? But now it's, like, manufactured by Israel. It's like, that sounds political. Like, did you actually care about this person? It screams weird to me.
Hold on.
What's up? What do you got?
Yeah.
I think you're missing some language here. Gold Star husband is usually Gold Star wife, and it's a reference to having a fallen soldier as your spouse. Now it doesn't seem as arrogant, right?
It's not about arrogance. It's about sounding political. Like, you don't do. For me personally, my mindset doesn't go to like doing canned speeches when you lose someone you care about. I don't know. Me personally, it doesn't go to like kind of speech writers, right? It doesn't go to that. It goes to heartbreak.
Oh, well, I mean, read it this way: as a husband.
Now look at the prior stuff up, sir.
Who lost my beloved wife. I got you, but just read it like that, because Gold Star is a reference. It's a term.
Okay.
So just read it as a husband. It changes the way you think of it then.
I don't think so, because of the politicizing afterwards. Yes, I can understand the idea of a Gold Star husband means, someone you're with someone that served.
Sounds arrogant.
I didn't even read the Gold Star part until you brought it up, but the idea is it maybe in words sound like that, but in reality it means what you're married to someone that served, maybe, right? that the idea?
That
I say fair enough. Fair enough. But like a war manufactured by Israel as the next part is, to me, sounds like politics and not like a caring husband. In my opinion. Sorry, forgive me for that.
If
like,
it was real, if it was real,
it's very performative.
And he blamed it on Israel.
Okay. And then the X post. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But we know Joe Kent's
so
a
that's
fake.
Just I just kind of took that and I put a bunch of arrows because I was doing a whole presentation on the paper that I wrote, and so I was kind of breaking down the different parts of his statement that I thought were interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Fuck. All right. Switch screens back. All right, here we go.
But I was doing it more from like an ideological breakdown, in terms of like because I used his interview with Tucker Carlson, his interview with Mark Levin, and his interview with Sagar.
Yeah.
So it's just different ways to manage. But yeah.
Well, I'll be honest. Actually, kind of side note, but part of it, like, until Norm here, I think Sagar has he been the best, like, with questioning? I don't know.
Yeah, and Mark because, but for totally different reasons.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I kind of discounted Mark right there.
Yeah.
In words, yes.
So garbage. Mark but he was just the jujitsu that he had to do on his show because, like, how do you hold two totally different? You're condemning somebody while praising them. Like, it's such a fucking mindfuck.
Mark's like, oh, you think Israel does this? Well, what about what Trump did over here? Was that Israel too? Huh? It's like, in words, there's a point there. But, the purpose of asking is something completely different. And thus,
no, but I agree that Sagar did a much better job.
He started to, but I don't think he fully followed through with it. I'm glad that Norm is doing this now. I wanted to actually full-blown follow-up.
Do you remember what he said to Sagar? He was like, oh, this is not the time. Like, this is right now, we're at an emergency. So I can't answer your question because, like, the house is on fire.
And Sagar asking in the, I guess, nicest way possible. Like, well, listen, there's a lot of people out there saying things like this, and like, what do you think, Joe, about those questions? That are like directly saying it like Norm is saying at this point in time, which I want to hear answers for that. I really do. So let's dig in. Here we go.
What do you say to that?
Okay, something.
Well, I would tend to agree with you had I not been at the White House and in the executive branch. From the time that we came into this administration, the Iranians showed that they wanted to sit down at the negotiating table with this president.
No problem.
Because the president's policy of max pressure sanctions, but using force where necessary, like the assassination of Qasem Soleimani and Abu Mahdi Mohandas, it showed that the president wasn't going to take the bait of getting sucked into a regime change war, and that he was willing to do business and to negotiate. The Iranians reciprocated by holding back their proxies. The Iranians had also had a prohibition on the development of a nuclear weapon since 2003.
They're saying it's a good thing.
The Israelis came in at the beginning of the administration as well and said now is the time to take down the Ayatollah because of all the gains that the Israelis had made post October 7th against Hezbollah, against Hamas, with Assad falling, the last domino, so to speak, in their plan to take over or to at least eliminate their enemies in the Middle East was to take down the Ayatollah. But what President Trump was trying to do at the beginning of the administration with getting the nuclear deal, it was a direct threat to that. So the Israelis used a wide variety.
So Assad had to go down, but the war was actually on behalf of Israel, according to that fucking letter we just looked at, apparently.
Assad?
Yeah. The ex-president of Syria. Right?
I thought he was talking about the Ayatollah.
Ayatollah is part of what he's saying here too, but he said Assad in the midst of that, right? Which is the former president of Syria, which means he's he's in support of what happened in Syria in a way, but also saying it's on behalf of Israel. So I'm like, Norm,
the right
get
thing
him,
to
Norm.
do?
Norm, get him, please. Sorry, Jesse.
Right.
Get this full, Norm.
Isn't he saying it was the right thing to do? Like he's saying
yes, I
that
think
it was right because somehow he's equating it to like this war is peace thing, like killing Soleimani. All this is like to not get us into a war is how he's framing it. But that's kind of sick, right? Like that's strange.
Well, when he killed one of the top Iranian guys, that was an American interest, okay, to kill some top Iranian guy, right, general or soldier guy, whatever the fuck, right, whatever he is, right, Soleimani. That was an American interest, but if you keep going too far, now it's Israel's interests apparently. So it doesn't make sense on paper. But they're saying it anyways, and the dumb fuck audience will go with it and fall for it. And I'm like, God damn it, guys.
They're the same picture, right? So I think that's Norm's question. Right?
Yes. Well, basically, right? Like, make this make sense. All this evidence of these guys like already gun ho in a certain direction. Norm's sense of like, hey, these guys are too smart to get tricked by Israel is a stupid idea. Leaving that aside, the whole idea of like, well, Joe Kent, everything you talk about in regards to things that you think are legit and in quote unquote American interest leads to war with Iran. Like all of it leads that direction. But now you're telling me like, well, the actual end event where not even the first time that US has dropped bombs on Iran, the second time within these last year or so, right? The second time, that one was for Israel, but the first one was for America. But the last one, the February one, that's Israel. And it's another stupid regime change war. Fucking Tulsi Gabbard sounding
I get Joe Kent's logic now.
God.
I understand Joe Kent now. When the war's over, we don't want to share the spoils
okay.
with Israel.
Got it.
So we got to start justifying this now. Man, they started this shit. We finished it. Therefore, we get the oil. We get the oil.
That wasn't bad. Got the Chappelle show for that one. Not bad, Dubster. Not bad. All right, here we go.
Middle East was to take down the Ayatollah. But what President Trump was trying to do at the beginning of the administration with getting the nuclear deal, it was a direct threat to that. So the Israelis used a wide variety of influence mechanisms that I saw firsthand to circumvent the normal intelligence process, but then also using donors, using influential Israelis, using the pro-Israel media environment in America to say that the president's policy actually was zero enrichment of uranium, knowing that that was a red line for the Iranians themselves. Trump attempted to kind of neutralize that with Operation Midnight Hammer, obliterating the uranium. But then,
God, it doesn't hold up in reality.
What would it matter if? No, what would it matter if it was Mossad or the CIA saying zero enrichment, meaning there's no deal unless you stop enriching 100%? What would be the difference?
Well, even though they're American, like let's say like Mark Levin, right, or Ben Shapiro, they're on paper American, right? Doesn't matter. The point is that they're saying things that Israelis like, so it must be Israel, and they're using their media apparatus to steer down. I guess he's only watching Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro, and they're being Trump is being guided by them through the media. Which is actually, you think I'm joking? That's actually Joe Kent's premise as part of the premise that those guys steered Trump in a different direction versus people that are actually in his administration. Instead, he got caught up on Fox News radio, wherever the fuck the idea is. And oh my God, they talk so clearly that it tricked Trump into just going their directions instead of Joe Kent's or Tulsi Gabbard's or whoever the fuck else. JD Vance, I'm sure, is another person they will say is like, oh my God, JD Vance was like going against the grain, but you know what? He tried. It didn't work. Trump got captured, but it's not Trump's fault. It was he got tricked.
We're calling Israel this. We are calling Israel the scapegoat while they're screaming. Everybody calls us the scapegoat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting narrative to be observed, right? That should be like, well, wait a minute, right? That should be like a, something hit you over the head, like you wake out of your stupor, like, wait a minute, what the fuck is that? Right? That should be, at the very least, curiosity piquing, right? At the very least, right?
They're acting like Mossad has more spy equipment than we do, like better binoculars.
I can't believe
like
hearing
that's what Joe Kent is saying. Mossad has better binoculars than the CIA.
Yeah.
So therefore, bad Mossad.
I asked the same questions before, Dubster, where I'm like, yo, if they're like, yo, Trump, you're okay, you won the presidency, now you're blackmailed, right? Which is Joe Kent's premise, right? He was legit, and then it became like bought into for whatever reason, right? Let's say it's blackmail. Like, hey,
he's still legit.
why wouldn't he like, yo, don't I got like intelligence guys? Yo, blackmail them, get their shit, get their records, get it all together.
Well,
let's fuck them up.
Two sentences back, he started listing all the stuff Mossad was doing, like it was some extra cool spy maneuvers.
Extra special, yeah.
Like, right, and I was just like in my head counting, we can do that, we can do that, we can do that, we can do that. So what's the problem that Mossad did it instead of the CIA? Yeah. And that's just where I'm at with what Joe Kent just said.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Yeah. That's been part of my entanglement with the logic of the whole, it's Israel. Right, that's been part of that for me, at least. That makes absolute sense.
Especially with Joe Kent saying that basically Trump has no blame. He's the commander in chief, and he's tricked her or blackmailed or whatever, but he still has no blame in any of this. So he's a good guy, like that. But he's doing exactly the opposite of what you're saying. So
yeah,
that's
even the thing.
That's odd that he's still protecting him. Well, he's saying he's giving the appearance of being against it, but he's very careful to still protect him in his words.
Even the thing, Jesse, that he ended his letter with, "Hey, my wife Shannon, right, killed over a war for Israel," right? Trump used that as a part of him firing him, I guess, or him Joe Kent quitting, and then Trump like, "Yeah, listen, I heard he got married too quickly. He betrayed his wife, his ex-wife, his dead wife. He betrayed her." Right? Like he started like talking shit on that level. And Joe Kent, what was his response? His response was like, well, he's just, you got to do things for the media and like he just excuse it away. Meanwhile, like using her as a part of his reasons to leave, basically. And this guy Trump's working for the same guys like essentially killed your wife based on your fucking letter right there. So it's like it's quite bizarre, and these guys are probably gonna scream. Side note, kind of. Once again, him, Tucker, potentially Candace. Although Candace, I think, better on herself, right? She might follow her own career adventures. Tucker and Joe Kent might scream, "Hey, Trump was bad, but like JD Vance though, that's a win. Let's go towards JD Vance." I can totally believe that and totally see that. And I'm sorry. Let me apologize to YouTube. Listen, if you're listening at this point right now, yes, we've paused quite a bit and said quite long-winded statements, but guess what? We're better than no offense. The three individuals on screen are better than them. I'm saying it directly and blatantly right now. At these topics. God.
This one's an analogy.
Okay.
And just for drawing it out. Jordan, you and I, we both agree to torture some Guantanamo Bay people, but you want to pull fingers off, and I want to pull toes off. That is the argument Joe Kent has with Netanyahu and Trump versus himself.
That scenario and kind of the metaphor of it, I agree with, but also FBI, I'm not into pulling off fingers. I don't think Dubster's into pulling off toes. Whatever.
No,
like,
it's
listen,
analogy.
we're not we are not actually into that. Fair statements here. But yes, I get your that metaphor there. Yeah. And that's in question, and I still want to hear that answered, although I can't even like cross my fingers. I don't think I have any hope for that. Let's find out, though.
I'm not crossing fingers. Oh no, I guess I said toes. Your fingers.
Well,
you can do whatever you want with your fingers.
I guess if me and you are the torturers, there are no fingers or toes anymore, so you can't cross anything. All right, let's play. Here we go.
Of uranium, knowing that that was a red line for the Iranians.
It's very laggy. I'm sorry. Sorry, YouTube. Real quick. Here we go.
Israelis using the pro-Israel media environment in America to say that the president's policy actually was zero enrichment of uranium, knowing that that was a red line for the Iranians themselves. Trump attempted to kind of neutralize that with Operation Midnight Hammer by obliterating the uranium. But then we saw the Israelis come right back with the same pressure campaign and influence President Trump. And so this speaks to a flaw that we have in the American system by letting the Israelis, the foreign government, come in and have the access that they do to influence our policy decisions. So I can say with confidence that had the Israelis not had the degree of access that they did, we never would have gotten into this war. Now that we're in it, now that we kind of took the bait and we got in on, especially the decapitation strike that killed the supreme leader, this unfortunately very much is our war. Unfortunately, because of the access the Israelis have, they're still in a key driver's seat here. We're trying to get a ceasefire. The Iranians have said, you know, what takes place in Lebanon is a key part of that, and we've seen massive escalations from the Israelis inside of Lebanon as well. So now we're stuck in this situation. So I don't seek to have any kind of further regime change efforts. I think that the sanctions that could have been used as a tool to get us a deal with the Iranian regime. I don't think
he left the deal
efforts to do regime change in the Middle East have made America safer or made the regime more stable. I think that's a policy that we should completely abandon. And that's why I advocate us walking away from this conflict as soon as we can, engaging in quiet diplomacy with the Iranians, and then also restraining the Israelis by taking away a lot of the aid that we give them to prevent them from going on the offense and getting us sucked into more of these wars.
Joe, just quickly,
hold on.
In 2018 posted Israelis are Nazi.
I really want to get that. Go ahead quickly, Dubster, because I want to get to.
Oh, it was this question. He left out the part where when we walk away from this war, we put sanctions back on them, so that they have a civil war and a coup or whatever themselves. Because that's the strategy Joe Kent wants.
It sounds like Scott Ritter almost, as in the idea of like, hey man, walk away from these wars. But he also, maybe not Scott Ritter, but this guy definitely advocated for the initial sanctions, pulling out of a deal, killing one of their top leaders, killing one of their top leaders, and amongst other things, and the limited strikes, right? And be like, hey guys, let's walk away. It's like, didn't you do all these things here to where it's like, you're saying walk away after you'd already, let's be real, robbed the fucking house already, right? Just walk away. Okay. You stole their couches, their TVs, their fucking child's toys. You stole all of it, and you're like, just walk away. Like, wait a minute. Like, once again, he advocated for stealing all those things in the first place. That's what I mean. He advocated for stealing those things in the first place. Now he's saying, like, let's just walk away. Like, that's bizarre. But go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, Ken, with what he just said, he reminded me of one thing that really bothered me about he just talked about the amount of access that Israel has. And in other interviews, he's mentioned like that he's witnessed these things. he's seen people like behind the scenes doing this type of influence, but he never ever mentions names or calls out like who's he talking about, what exactly they do. So he's a witness to these things. He's like giving the appearance of whistleblowing, but not actually doing that at all.
Yeah, agreed. Actually, it's a mysterium of. I don't know what the word would be. It's the mirage or the illusion of being like, oh my god, this guy quit his job for this, like, and thus you assume it's off of principle, but it might not actually be, but it might be assumed as principle. And damn, and this guy is also an authority, right? He's a higher up. He's a, counterterrorism expert, higher up, number 2 or 3 to Tulsi Gabbard, who's also a higher up, right? And thus he must have expertise, and him leaving means he has credibility because we don't like what's happening right now. So thus, right, the train of logic is, I get it, but at this point right now, I'm gonna call you fucking dumb, as I would call myself. It sounds like I'm being like, you're beneath me, but in reality, it actually is like, if I did that, I'd call myself stupid. That's why I call it stupid. Forgive me. What's it, boy? Here we go.
That we give them to prevent them from going on the offense and getting us sucked into more of these wars.
Joe, just quickly, Norman in 2018 posted, Israelis are Nazis, Nazis are Israelis. You posted 3 years after that, anyone who says Israel is a terrorist state is out of touch with reality. Would you amend not your response, but would you amend your own quote from 2021 now, given everything that's happened in the next 5 years? I mean, many people do view Israel now as behaving like a terrorist organization in the way that they've accused others of behaving against them.
We're nowhere near the thing that
I would want to be specific because Israel is a country and it represents a wide variety of people, many of whom don't agree with the current government's policy. So I would say that there are elements of the Likud party that are acting in a terrorist way, considering what they've done in Gaza, what they're doing right now in Lebanon. So I think that would be accurate to say. But there's always nuance. I think a lot of the blanket, this group, this country is purely terrorist is just wrong. We should be specific. My dispute mostly is with America allowing us to be influenced by the Israelis, but we do have a real problem with the Likud party. And if I were an Israeli, I would be very concerned with the path that Likud is taking
the Bernie Sanders answer about
Israel on right now.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt. I mean, I view the behavior of people like Ben Gvir increasingly as that of a psychopath. And, if you're trying to portray yourselves as many Israelis have done it, we have the most moral army in the world, for example, and you've got someone like Ben Gvir behaving the way he is behaving. It is...
Yo, Norm. I hope you're real, but these two, I'm sorry, forget my intuition. These two are fucking playing you, man. They're playing you and the audience. They're trying to. If you're legit, Norm. These two on the right side of my screen right now, the middle and the right side of my screen, these guys are playing a game right now. It looks very weird. Extremely weird. The first to pull away from what... Hold on. The first to pull away from what Norm initially said as a question. We are now degrees away from that all of a sudden. Although Norm should take it upon himself to go back there. Well, Norm should take that... He should take it upon himself to go back to that territory, right? But still, the way these two are fucking talking are quite weird. Likud party. That's not an assessment. That's politics. That's not real. That's not a real statement. It's not a real questioning of reality, questioning of what's happening here. Like a genuine man, there's people being blown up. What the fuck is happening? What's the answer to this? What's the assessment? What's the observation I'm seeing? It screams fakery. And Norm should be like, hold on, what am I doing here? If we're gonna dance around like this shit, bro. Go back to the original fucking question. What did I say there? We'll go from there. What did I say? Let's go from there. These fools are full. They're full of shit. And Joe Kent, this is the 8th time I've heard him in interviews repeating the same exact fucking word. I mean, word for word, the same fucking things. word for fucking word the same things. It's like, that should be like mentally like, excuse me? Maybe Norm hasn't seen this guy before, to be fair, but like me personally, I've seen this guy talk. Actually, like, was it like 2 or 3 times on this show in particular, saying the same exact things. And Piers is like, oh, bibbity bobbity. Anyways, and ask like questions that lead towards the same answers that you already heard before, instead of leading into something that's kind of new, which is what Norm was saying. That should be wreckage, man. Like, I don't know what their goal is, what their point is, but it looks sus from Mr. in the middle and Mr. to the right here. Not politically, I mean like on the screen. Piers and Joe Ken. It looks fucking weird. And Norm, if you don't put up a fucking fight, guess what? You're on that fucking list too, man. It'll look weird, man. Depending on how you do it. But let's apply. I view that as weird.
No, hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. I gotta point this out. What Piers Morgan just said in his little moment right there, he put a very weird subliminal in there. And I don't know which of the 3 armies he's possibly talking about right here: Israel, England, or America. Because he said, we have the most moral army in the world.
No. That was him talking about the propaganda and statements of the Israeli army. We're so moral, we handle wars differently than others do. We warn citizens before we blow them up. Right?
Oh,
even though they don't actually do that, right? But that's a kind of a statement that has been said by them as far as their spokespeople. Right? That's where that's coming from, as far as I understand. And it's Piers grabbing credit. It's like, Piers woke up, man. He noticed, he sees the thing. He sees it now. He realized that, Israel doing this, he woke up. Meanwhile, like, it feels like he's selling a fucking game, right? Like, if you actually listen to what's being said and you counter the logic with other logics, like, or not logistics, but syllogisms, right? When you counter them together, like, it's like, wait a minute, what the fuck are you doing? If you're a fucking guy who gets paid to ask questions and sit back and let the fireworks fly, right? How are these your questions? Make that make sense. Like, make that make sense, please. And it doesn't. It looks like fucking bullshit. And guess what? People are going to tell me to shut the fuck up because Piers is questioning Israel. You're not allowed to do that, man. You can't do that until the time period changes over to where you are allowed to do that. And now it's not a big. It's so bullshit to me.
It's not cool to question Israel anymore. If you're questioning Israel, you're a normie at this point.
It's wreckage to me.
You're not. It's not the new outlier cool thing to do anymore. It's not rebelling to question Israel anymore. It was a few years ago, but it is no longer.
Well, Piers has always been on the weird side of questioning things, right? Like he always looked like a part of that system of controlling narrative. And the more recent thing where I think you said you referenced him as being awake as a people might say about him. I might get the timing wrong, but the first time I've seen him like really kind of change his in an interview start to look like he's considering what's being said and maybe he was wrong about things was actually with Norm because he was he was always on the other side of that and then Norm to have like made him really think about things if like the way that I watched the interview and still on the surface type of thing he seemed to have like really considered that and then he kind of reversed gear and that's where I guess this reference of him being awake he started asking like different kinds of questions to people so that's kind of interesting on where he's landing on what he's doing now that's kind of confusing.
Well, it's just interesting to hear statements from Norm Finkelstein, right? Take them, twist them, and turn it into a completely different question to Joe Ken, where you know the fucking answer because you've interviewed him 4 different fucking times. know the exact canned responses to these questions. So thus he took what Norm was saying, what was implied, the core of the question or statements, took it, twisted it into something that Joe Kent can easily respond to. And it's like, sure. Piers had a revelation. He had an epiphany. Cenk Uygur had a revelation, an epiphany. Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson had realizations and epiphanies. Anna Kasparian had a realization and epiphany, on and on and on and so forth. It's insulting to the intelligence when it comes to like script writing and storytelling. Insulting. But you know what? I'm hoping that Norm is real. I'm hoping he's a real person. Like you know, like they're all real people, but you know what I mean? Like actually like I'm just Norm, just saying saying Norm things, you know? I'm Norm saying Norm things. Right? Versus I have a script, I know what I'm gonna say here. Right? I have a talking point, I know what I'm gonna say here. I hope Norm is actually real, where he's seeing what's going on and fucking puts questions to it. That's what I'm here for now at this point. Let's apply, let's find out. Here we go.
It is a contradiction which is obvious to the entire world, hence the decreasing popularity of Israel because of the actions of members of its government. And that's one of the issues, of course, of Netanyahu getting back into power by doing a deal with people like Ben Gvir. I think it's coming back to haunt him. Let me just ask you, Norman. So on a lecture video for the Mint Press entitled "I Will Never Condemn Hamas" recently, you said the following:
"Never condemn Hamas."
After October 7th.
Norm, say like, I don't know what clip you played, but you know what? I had a fucking question that never got fucking answered. Go there, Norm. Please, dude. I know you're old. Fuck being old. Be fucking Norm. Take this over. Like, yo, I had a question that was initially like brought up and not answered exactly. So please, is your priorities to destroy Iran, but through your own methods versus, I guess, what you're calling Israel first method? Like, go back there, please. Let's apply. Let's let them go through this. But I'm already
on a lecture video for the Mint Press entitled "I Will Never Condemn Hamas" recently. You said the following:
It's officially been diverted.
For those of you who followed the Piers Morgan saga, the first year of after October 7th, the standard question was, do you condemn what Hamas did on October 7th? By the end of that first year, he was being mocked for that question. And then he subtly modified it to what he thought was a rhetorical question. That is a question for which the answer ought to be obvious. Did Israel have a right to self-defense after October 7th? And that is a complicated, I believe, question.
Now, I've got a few issues with that, Norman. One, I have never...
He brought up something about himself. You just say, yo, Piers, sorry. Listen, if you want to like DM me, we can talk privately to help you with your own personal self-gratification or self-esteem issues, whatever the fuck. But like, I had a question. Can we go back there? And Norm should be media savvy enough to go through that. Although, once again, pride can hit people, right? Pride or you being called into question might get you to rise up and ignore the main point in the first place. To be fair, right? That can happen even to regular ass people that are being, you know, a version of authenticity, right? Not hyper fake, but still, as on many levels of me, Norm, please go back to the original point and stay there until they fucking answer for it. Here we go.
Question.
Now, I've got a few issues with that, Norman. One, I have never deviated from asking people, do you condemn what Hamas did? Because I think the answer is very illuminating.
They're trying to Dave Smith you right now.
Condemn what Hamas did on October the 7th. then I find anything that people then say after that extremely hard to take seriously. And I don't care who's doing it. If you're murdering 1,200 people, wounding 7,000 more, kidnapping 250 plus, including Holocaust survivors and a baby, then you should just be condemned for what it is. So I've got no apology for saying that repeatedly or for continuing to ask people that question if I suspect the answer may be equivocal or they just don't want to answer or say no. And on the issue of Israel's right to self-defense, I've never disputed that Israel had not just a right, but a duty to defend itself after October the 7th from future attacks, not least because the Hamas spokesperson said on air,
like, how did we get here?
To do the same thing again and again. I've never deviated actually from either of those positions. My only deviation was that as the scale of the response and the self-defense went on, I increasingly began to view it as utterly disproportionate to what had happened, that the civilian slaughter that was going on, with the excuse that, Hamas are living amongst civilians, I just felt no longer carried meaningful water. And that the whole thing was descending into,
Norm,
some people, what do they call it, genocide? Norm. I have never called it that. I said that I think there's clear evidence from the rhetoric.
He's doing the politician thing.
There is a campaign of ethnic cleansing that's going on in Gaza and in the West Bank.
Walk through this.
We can argue about the meaning of those particular phrases. There's a lot of civilians who've been killed,
Piers,
in my view, unnecessarily. And they don't add to the self-defense of Israel. In fact, if anything, I think they've had the opposite effect. They've made Israel more vulnerable and Jewish people around the world more vulnerable, as we're seeing. So, there's a lot
that every politician answers
to unpack with my response there. But just to be clear,
now all of a sudden,
I've not deviated from either of those two things that I said originally. I maintain them both now. It's just the scale of the Israel response, which I think became increasingly disproportionate. That has been, I think, where a lot of people have gone, like me.
It shouldn't be a strategy. It should just be like, well, Piers, I empathize. But anyways,
let me just
address
the two questions. But let me just begin with a clarification. There are many social media accounts that have my name on it, in Instagram and Facebook. I'm not a social media person. I don't follow it. But I think you're aware it's very hard to take down those accounts. And I have to, the ones that are with my name on it. I do not believe I used the phrase, Israel are Nazis, Nazis are Israelis. It's possible I did. I don't want to claim 100%, but my memory doesn't resonate to that, and it doesn't sound like me. So it's possible that's one of the social media accounts, and I would be grateful before airing this if you can check it with your producers.
You know what? If you've raised concerns about the veracity of that, we will absolutely double check it.
Yeah, thank you
so
much.
Thank God, let's stay here.
Of course, if you didn't say it, it gets.
You know what he's actually scared of, right?
I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
right. Norm,
these number of accounts that have my name on it have proliferated.
Norm, are you taking Piers and fuckface to the right here at face value? Are you doing? Listen, Norm, I'm not taking you at face value. So, I would hope if you're genuine, if you're legit, and the savviness you should have. You should be like, man, I wondered if that question was to distract me from something. And who the fuck is this guy over here? How come he's an authority on this topic now all of a sudden? The thing that you spent a lot of years on, right, Norm? This guy's now considered outflanking you at little influencer groups and politicians and shit like that. Now Joe Kent is above you on a topic you spent all this time on. I'm just saying. Not saying that's the way you should think about it. If he knows better, he knows better. But if you ask questions and they don't get fucking answered when you have your, once again, small opportunities, like limited opportunities, that should be like, wait a minute, let's go back to the fucking main question here because I need to find out if this guy's legit. If he's not legit, I have to dismiss him. I will openly dismiss him because I can't trust him or whatever the fuck the idea is, right? You have to fucking try it. So Norm, why are we, like I said, on the surface, that was part of my Dave Smith thing where he's like, listen, man, they're killing kids. Well, Bob tied his shoes yesterday. Wait, what? I saw Bob yesterday. I didn't see him tie his shoes. What are you talking about? Well, I saw him tie his shoes. I didn't see him tie his shoes. It's like, what happened to the original story, the original point, the original moral fucking controversy in the first place? Why did that disappear so fast? It's like, yo, Norm, you were going that direction, and now you're talking about fake accounts. It's like, you're here. Fuck them. You're here now. Yes, it's important too, but like, you asked the question, it never got answered, and now we're here, Norm. Like, come on, man.
Well, it's defense. Piers put him on defense right here.
Oh, come on.
So
that's not good enough.
That's
it's not good enough.
It's a play in communication to get somebody distracted
not good enough.
From the topic at hand. Look, if I'm in an argument with you, I call you out on something, you're defensive. But then whenever a third person steps in and starts like watering it down for the first person to like rearrange the way it's all considered and everything, and then he comes back and says, "Hey, didn't you call me call Israel Nazis and Nazis Israelis?" I was like, "Well, where did I say that?" Okay, and then I'm not gonna talk for 8 minutes, and it's like, well, there's little points he's gonna remember, and the point where he needs to defend his character is obviously going to be on his forefront. So he's already moved on from his putting Joe Ken on defense. He's got to now address his own defense.
I understand. On the surface, I see that idea. But at the same time, why is there such a trust of Piers asking genuine questions and Joe Kent being genuinely this direction or that direction? Why is he not approaching it like, I don't know who the fuck you are. Let me find out. How come he's not doing that? Maybe it's a problem with efficiency. Who knows what it is? But I have to say,
I gotta hold my shield up before I can be comfortable swinging my sword.
It's a major pause, but Norm should already have his own. You should already have like a sense of credibility already. Versus like, who the fuck are you? You guys are late. So who are you? And the fact that he's not considering that is baffling to me. But let's apply. Fuck it. Here we go.
Out of hand because I don't do anything about it. I don't have the resources to engage with the social media giants. Now, on the specific questions, first of all, I never said or implied, I believe, that you had changed your position. I said those were your standard questions in the first year and then the second year. Now, as to the first question, you say that one loses, or effectively, one has lost his or her humanity by not condemning Hamas for what it did on October 7th.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if I make an argument like that, I don't leave it at the soundbite. It's not a tweet. It's an argument. I'm coming out with a book now this month, Gaza's Gravediggers, and the whole of the introduction is devoted to that specific question. So, what did I do? In order to try to get my moral bearings, because I was unsure of my moral judgment, I wasn't confident in it, I was unsure. What I did was I went back to look at the slave rebellions in the United States and in the Caribbean. And the slave rebellions were very bloody affairs. They indiscriminately killed white people. If you take the largest slave rebellion in the United States by Nat Turner, his order was, quote, kill all white people. And that's what the slave revolters proceeded to do. They went from house to house, hacked women to death. In that case, they did behead babies. That's correct. And then what I did was, I looked at what the abolitionists, those who opposed slavery, what did they say about the Nat Turner Rebellion? What did they say, like C.L.R. James, the historian? What did he say about the slave rebellion in Haiti? And in each case, what I discovered was that the abolitionists, those who opposed slavery, white people, and also black people who opposed slavery, they never condemned Nat Turner. What they did was they said horrible things happened during that Nat Turner revolt. Just as I said, and I said it's not right, it's not wise to deny that Hamas and other militant groups committed atrocities of a significant magnitude on October 7th. I was not in denial mode. But then I did exactly what the abolitionists did. They did not condemn the slave revolts. They condemned, in the case of the United States, they condemned the white people who either enforced or turned a blind eye to slavery. They said, we warned you, we warned you, we warned you. If you treat people this way, if you degrade them, you humiliate them, you murder them, that don't be surprised if a Nat Turner revolt happens. And that's exactly what I said about October 7th. If you knew, as I did know, what had been done to the people of Gaza, the fact that even the head of Israel's National Security Council.
I get what Norm's doing here. Get the speech about it. He can even be like, serious about this. Am I? I don't think so.
But that's also not fair to say that all the abolitionists had the same exact analysis of that.
Not true, right?
Type of, yeah, because that doesn't make sense, because there's all sorts of different types of abolitionists as well, like whether it's like from the Black Liberation like church, like the Methodist Church, to like the the white, Bostonian, was it William Garrison, whatever, like those guys, like New York, Boston, Philadelphia people. There was a bunch of people that were involved. Like, so to say like, well, according to the abolitionist literature, like which ones, like which era, you know what I mean? He knows to be more specific.
Yeah. Although I get his point, but it feels like we're stuck in a Norm Finkelstein like speech or lecture instead of let's get to the look, you're in front of these guys. Let's talk to them. Let's go there.
Well, it's also kind of silly, right? To kind of be like, okay, well, I checked in the history books, and this is how the quote unquote abolitionists would have responded to the Nat Turner Rebellion. So I'm, adopting that reaction. Like, what? No.
Yeah.
It's kind of silly.
It's as nonsense and silly as, hey, I don't trust these right-wing guys doing this or that in regards to this topic. Yeah. And it's like, is it about left or right wing, or is this guy being authentic or a full shit artist? That's not being distinguished at all. So thus, it looks silly to me.
It gets convoluted. And then now we're talking about fucking Nat Turner. Like, fucking hell. And John Brown, I'm sure, will be brought up shortly after.
Of the original. All right, here we go.
So, said in 2004, Giora Island, he described Gaza as a huge concentration camp. Or Mary Robinson, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, she said in 2008, she said, a whole civilization is being destroyed. I am not exaggerating. It's being destroyed. Or as the Economist said, in 2023, just on the eve of October 7th, when they said that Gaza was a sinking ship. In the face of all of that, you can't be surprised by October 7th. You can't pretend to be shocked by October 7th, and you can condemn the atrocities, but just as the abolitionists did not condemn the slave revolts, I won't condemn the revolt by the inmates of a concentration camp who were born into it, because the people of Gaza who burst the gates, they were mostly around 20 to 22 years old. They were born into a concentration camp. They languished in that concentration camp, and they were fated and destined to die in that camp.
Okay, we did check while you were talking there. My team checked about the Nazi quote. You did say it. 25th of May 2018 on your official X account, Twitter account as it was then. The mask has been pulled off. Israelis are Nazis. Nazis are Israelis. The assassins along the concentration camp fence target children for goofs. So that was a genuine post that you did, just to clarify that. Just very quickly.
Maybe I would have to go look at him.
So Joe, very quickly, your response to what Norman Finkelstein said there about October the 7th, because, you know, he made a lot of parallels about people who have been in some form of slavery.
I thought Norm was more media savvy to see, like, Piers just turned this back towards you as you're the defense and here's the prosecution, and Joe Kent's like, do I join the prosecution? Or do I maybe play it nice to where, like, oh yes, yeah, the young man Joe Kent, yeah, he's a nice fella. He was nice to me when I was getting grilled on Piers Morgan versus answering the fucking initial questions. Like, how do we allow this stupid shit, Fred? I can hear someone already without, once again, I don't get that many viewers, right? But I can imagine some of them saying, like, yo, George, shut the fuck up. These guys know what they're doing. They know what they're talking about. Shut up. I feel that. I smell that.
I'm wondering.
Hurts my feeling. Go ahead.
Have you heard Joe Kent say anything about Gaza? Like, did he agree with it, but it wasn't done correctly? He agreed with it, but it wasn't done correctly?
Wait. Actually, that's actually a really good question. Have we heard that? Have we heard Joe Kent say anything about fucking Gaza? Like, really? Like, about the real bad, blatantly bad parts of the whole genocide, Israel, Gaza thing?
This may be new information about it here.
I mean, if he had problems with it, he sat through it. Let's be honest. Up until the day he quit, he was sitting through all of that. So maybe at like the initial days of like, hey, there's a ceasefire, right? But by late February, March territory, you have no excuses for sitting there for months, right? Watching that happen and not saying a fucking word about it. You have no excuse. And that'd be awesome if Norm was like, yo, I'm gonna treat you guys like you might be full of shit. Instead of like treating it like, here's a TV show host asking questions for his TV show, and here's a genuine guy who quit because he has a wrong idea about the world, right? Imagine if Norm treated it like, you guys might be sus. Now, to be fair, maybe Norm's sus himself, right? To be fair, like, I have to do that too, right? But on paper, in this scenario, imagine if Norm's like, hey, what if these guys are sus? What questions would you ask? How, what's the word? How diligent would you be towards arguing certain points just in case they're full of shit? And it's like, damn, is this it seems like that's not a thing based on what I'm seeing on screen here.
It's not a thing. But that's Israel's war, right? Like, remember what you said. So, like, he could dismiss it like that, even though he's not actually even touching it, right?
Yeah.
And remember when there was so much focus, like we're seeing in the news every single day, and on what was happening in Gaza, and you said, like, there's no way that, like, attention is not going to be drawn off of that. You said, except if we go to war with Iran, right? And that was the thing, like, and Ken's not like.
No, I was wrong about that, Jesse. Actually, I was wrong.
Was that the Epstein?
No, it wasn't Epstein. It was a declared peace deal. That was the one that actually drew attention away from Gaza. And then later on, Epstein happened, and then Epstein. The only way to distract from Epstein was Iran, and then Iran stuff happened. So I was right. I was worried about like Epstein with Iran, but like the Gaza stuff, they just announced like, "Hey, we have a ceasefire and a peace deal." So you know what, guys, walk away.
Which nothing's here.
Yeah, but that was the actual main reason, I think, when it comes to certain, at least personalities that not drive, but like, set the table for other personalities. That was the main deal. That he announced the peace deal thing, which was fake and bullshit. But the tension off of Israel didn't stop. That stayed persistent. That stayed. But the idea of, I care so much about Gazan children or Palestinian children, families, that one died. That died.
I don't hear that at all from like, from the voices you hear pointing a finger to Israel. I don't hear nothing about Gaza. They might just throw it in there, like, but that's not at all the focus.
Yeah,
like it's not the reason that you're doing it. Which is like, okay, so like, what is your priorities here? Just not to do something because you're saying another country saying it, but like, if it wasn't for that, it's okay or something. Like, what is actually, what are you actually opposing, right? Like, if we do the same things, is that okay?
Well, yes, I agree, but my mind went to another kind of a different idea. Whereas the people that, again, and I believe them in the sense of like caring so much about whatever topic, where they go gun ho in such a direction to where, like, once again, they're relatively new to hearing, oh my God, things this dark happen on planet Earth. Holy shit. Right? Wherever they're from, right? It's relative to them. And they're just hearing these things and they think, damn, if I don't do X, Y, or Z, that means I don't actually care. Right? If you talk about almost seems like the simple idea of like just talking about the ideas, that's called you don't actually care. You have to like actually like do something, right? And stand in front of a tank or grab a gun or something, right? Grab a picket sign. I understand. I empathize, but it's almost like almost like you're like cramming for righteousness. It's not I'm into this, so thus I know the equations. I know the answer. I know the formula to deal with this question off rip. Right? Not that where it's like genuine care for the topic. It's a late night scramble of holy shit! I just found this out, and what have I done? Oh my god! I better do this as a result, and thus you don't actually get any. In my opinion, you're going nowhere very quickly. But we'll shame anyone that gets in the way, unfortunately, and thus end up in a dark spot. I get it. I empathize, but we end up there. That's what's happened with that topic, Gaza. The ones that have stuck around, in words at least, it's a lot of namesake, a lot of matter of factness, and not too much thinking going on, fortunately. And the ones that recognize before October 7th happened, or wherever you hit your kind of peak wisdom, you already realize this was a possibility already. It's already there. The fucking seeds were the seeds were planted already. It's already as a possibility. So thus,
I think I know what Joe Kent's gonna say.
Okay. Yeah.
Biden allowed Netanyahu to do Gaza. Trump stopped it. And that's all he's going to say.
Well, we're not there, and Joe Kent will just avoid Gaza, probably. And unless he can, like, sniff out, like, hey, you voted Biden, didn't you? or you voted Harris. So you know what? I can like take advantage of this as a narrative, counter what you said before. I'll rely on dumb fucks making clips saying like, "Oh my God, Joe Kent destroyed," Bob or Jane. But either way, let's apply. I agree, Dubster. Let's apply. There we go.
Rising up, and that it's more complex than just condemning it outright. A lot of people will be appalled by that and say this is clearly a terrorist
I feel like I'm
attack.
saying something, but
that,
I don't know.
Referencing back to slavery is missing the point about what happened in 2023. What do you say?
I think it's right, obviously, to condemn what Hamas did, but I do think it's important to look back and understand why things happen. Just because you're trying to understand why things happen doesn't mean you're condoning it. I think we need to do a lot more of this.
You are, to this day, in support of what led to the Iran war as you're complaining about the Iran war. You were in support of it to this day, as far as I understand. You're still in support of it, of the events that lead to blatantly that Iran war conflict stuff. But what do I know? Joe Kent's against Israel right now. You need to shut up, Jordan, and like help him out, I guess, or support him. Solidarity. There we go.
To look back and understand why things happen. Just because you're trying to understand why things happen doesn't mean you're condoning it. I think we need to do a lot more of this in American intelligence circles. We need to look at the results of some of our policies in the Middle East. We tend to call it blowback terrorism. It's not discussed enough in counterterrorism circles. We're quick to try and dive into the doctrine of, why Al-Qaeda attacked us on 9/11, but we usually skip over how our policies could have impacted and driven a lot of these people to the extreme. So I think.
Okay. Once again, he is in support of the things that led to the Iran war, but now he's talking about, blowback. Now, all of a sudden. I mean, once again, you go back to the original fucking norm question. Please start there. Start there. You apparently agree with all the events that got to this place. You just disagree with like how they executed. So please answer that. Find out if you're for real, because we've heard plenty of shit from plenty of people. Joe Kent. So please show us you're not a full shit artist, man. Show us. Probably can't. Supply. Here we go.
I think what the professor there is discussing is worth looking at, and we shouldn't be shamed or criticized for saying, okay, yes, it was horrific what Hamas or any terrorist organization does, but why does that terrorist organization exist? Because to not answer that question does allow us to kind of paint the terrorists and the people who may support the terrorists as basically just monsters who aren't human and have no agency. I think we should look into what drives people to these extremes, what policies, what conditions are created. I think that's important if we ever hope to actually solve the problem of terrorism.
In words, I get what he's saying, right? Hold on. In words, I get what he's saying, right? In words. But once again, someone can just say words out loud. So thus you ask them questions to find out, like, what are you actually made of? And thus it's necessary for this little faker, this potential, in my opinion, faker, Joe Kent. It's worth asking him those, like, it's about like the bigger questions, right, Joe Kent? About like, how did things happen in the first place? Well, it took you all the way to, looking at my watch, 3 months ago, or whatever, was it? 5 months ago? When did he quit? How long did it take you, Joe Kent? You should actually answer that question, Joe Kent. Instead of like just hearing your words, which anyone can say words, make it make sense logically. And Norm should have the wherewithal for that. I mean, I know I do. And I'm like, I don't care what fucking words you just said to me, my man. You have questions based on your statement right there and your logic you just said. It begs the question of this stuff over here. Like, how come you were so here at this point? What was your actual mindset? What happened?
Bro.
They should be asked.
It's worse. It's worse than you think what that dumbass just said. But go ahead.
What do you mean worse? Go ahead.
Okay. Just flip it on its head. Hamas is Jews in Nazi concentration camps. 1,200.
Wait, what? Oh,
just
okay,
flip it on its head.
Hamas or Palestinians? What are you saying? They're the ones being holocausted. Hamas is being holocausted.
No. Let me fucking talk.
Okay.
Hamas does the October 7th thing, and they killed 1,200 Germans. They escaped the camps. They killed 1,200 Germans. And this dude said Italy should have had better intelligence to help assist Germany in keeping those Jews in the concentration camp so this could never happen. And we, Italy, should consider how Germany has bad policy that's making these Jews so pissed off that they would escape their concentration camp and kill 1,200 Germans.
I think I get what you're doing there, but
that's what he just said.
Better if you take it, going about that. I get what I think I get what you're saying though. I think I get that. Go ahead. Sorry,
dude. That was horrible what he just said.
Yeah, if you go that. Once again, are you hearing like the social narrative idea that Joe Kent is going towards? Versus if you go like directly, logically, and just like transform it into like, okay, kind of a, hey, if I switch things around, this, right? Like that's not exactly what it's like. It's not gonna be read that way, I don't think, but by regular people, they won't read it that way, the way you just said it. I don't think.
Oh no, I got that, but it was the perfect analogy.
Okay. Okay. I feel more so of this guy just kind of in script territory, and I think someone who's full shot, or I mean, beyond words dumb, one or the other. But I think it's more script is dumb. But all right, fair enough. Let's apply. Here we go.
Okay, very quickly, Joe. Mike Huckabee, the American ambassador to Israel, today has called you out for saying Israel only existed as a regional power because of America.
Okay. I won't lie. I think I might be done. But where's
what? You're not gonna watch the next 20 minutes of this to find out that Norman Finkelstein's not gonna circle back?
No,
I have no idea how much time is left. No, I'm just fucking with you. Norm's given up.
Yeah, this is Ishii, you're shy. Yeah, this is probably GG's. All right, YouTube. That's it. I'm sorry. Like, it is what it is. Like, Norm got kind of drowned on paper. He could be just part of bullshit, right? He could be full shit artist himself. But on paper, he definitely got the runaround from these two fucking, one, blatant as day, Piers Morgan, and two, Joe Kent, okay with it. It's that, like, once again, as much as the onus is on, you know, on Norm to be like, ask questions, right? Hey, ask another question. Like, make sure you follow up. Make sure you stay in that territory. Same goes for the guys answering questions. You can't just be like, well, anyways, like, you should actually be like, hey, let me answer that question that he asked. I think it's important, or I think it was interesting. If he doesn't see that as interesting, or once again, all out besmirching his character, right? Like, all out, basically, when it comes to Joe Kent and who he associates with. If he doesn't see that, then, like, how smart are you? Well, you're kind of dumb. Okay, so why should I, like, listen to you about X, Y, or Z? I'll hear your words out, but the core of it might be dumb. Maybe the words make sense some area, one or another, but ultimately, At the very least, you are dumb as rocks. But I'll leave it there either way. There's your video. Please subscribe if you feel like. Comment, agree or disagree. Let it be known in the comment section. Once again, some stuff here. The norm thing, the norm question. Apparently a permanent question mark for Piers and Joe Kent, unfortunately. But if you want to ask us questions or say something about the video we watched, please go ahead. Do not forget to share support. Hopefully donate to all the links in the description box. Also, please check out the Discord link if you want to join that. We're in that Discord right now. All opinions are welcome, obviously. And everything I showed you will be linked in that same description box. So please, check it out. Most importantly, with all that said, give this video a thumbs down.